Select Board meeting of April 7, 2026. Thank you, everybody, for starting at 5:30. Dee, would you start us off with the Pledge of Allegiance?
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Can I have approval of the minutes of March 17, 2026?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? At this time, we're going to do new public business. The clerk, do you have your timer? We'll limit it to 3 minutes. Please go up to the podium and introduce yourself. Go right up. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Gayla Bartlett. I am the current president of the Danvers Kiwanis Club. With me is our wonderful secretary, Kay Maurice, and our magical treasurer, Diane Brinkley. We are very excited tonight. We were approached to make a donation for the Swamp Walk. We are so excited about this and the new inclusivity ramp that's going to be built. So we would proudly like to present this check, which we're going to hold up, because we're very excited to use our big check.
Okay.
So it's $2,000, and we'd like to donate this to the Swamp Walk on behalf of the Danvers Kiwanis Club.
Thank you.
Would you like to come up and be in the picture and be accepting? Can I ask for that? I'm being timed, I'm sure, but go ahead. Here we are. We're cute. You look. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Madam Chairman, if I may remind the folks at home, if you want to make a donation, write the check out to Friends of the Danvers Rail Trail and mail the check to P.O. Box 211, Danvers, Mass. 01923, but include Swamp Walk on the memo.
Thank you.
All donations will be gratefully accepted.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you. Go up, introduce yourself.
Good evening. I'm George Saludo, and 15 years ago, I helped a few folks build the Swamp Walk. I'm sorry they left so early. I'd like to thank them very much for their donation to the Swamp Walk Restoration Project. Kiwanis is a major player in the quality of life of our Danvers community. Thank you very much. 15 years ago, their leadership was part of the successful accumulation of $40,000 by individuals, businesses, and institutions, which helped the 200 volunteers create the initial Swamp Walk, an amazing outdoor recreational site. As a matter of fact, 15 years ago, a gentleman by the name of Larry Crowley wrote a letter to the editor of the Danvers paper. He said, "This past Sunday, I had the good fortune to visit the 10th wonder of the world in Danvers. It was the new Swamp Walk attached to the new rail trail close to Route 97 in Wenham. The Swamp Walk is a wooden walkway meandering through a mucky swamp for several hundred feet. That was a serious error. It's really a third of a mile long. I have a restoration project update. Our initial restoration estimate of $15,000 has been increased to $20,000 due to an interest in transforming the southern section of the rail trail to be handicap accessible, which would require guardrails, handrails, and a turnaround on an island in the middle of the swamp. 15 years ago, the donations ranged from $3,000 to $20. At this time, I'm a little concerned that the flow of donations has been a bit slow, with contributions by only a few thoughtful individuals, plus this very, very generous donation by the Kiwanis Club. And as already mentioned, if you're interested in supporting the community project, a description of this project is on 2 websites, the Danvers Rail Trail and We Are Danvers. And you may send your check to the Danvers Town Hall with the donation made out to the Friends of Danvers Rail Trail - Swamp Walk. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you very much. Next, a public hearing. Anybody else? Okay. A public hearing will be held under Chapter 138 of the general laws on the application of MB Spirits LLC, DBA MB Spirits, 139 Endicott Plaza, Unit A2, Stephen Kazuki, whatever, manager, for a change of officers, directors on an all-alcohol retail license at that location. And correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Clerk, we said before for just change of officers, they don't have to appear?
The applicant did send a letter indicating there are no changes to the license at the local level, and the board has previously agreed that the applicant does not need to appear for that. And the
Excellent.
paperwork is in order.
Thank you. Board members' questions? Dave?
No questions, thank you.
Dan?
All set.
Gardner?
All set?
Mike?
No questions.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Anyone in the audience? Okay,
We close the public hearing?
thank you. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Second. Aye.
Aye, opposed. Okay, thank you.
And that was to close the hearing.
Yep,
right?
close the hearing, yep, and then can we have a motion?
I move we accept the application as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Terrific, thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Public hearing will be held on the application of Ava, AVA Pizza LLC, DBA Ava, AVA Pizza and Ice Cream, 100 Independence Way. Anna Zelenenko, owner for a common vehicular license at that location, who is here to speak. Hi, I met you in the lobby. Go right up and introduce yourself. We love ice cream.
Yes, hello, my name is Anna Zelenenko, and we are taking over the business in Liberty Tree Mall, and everything stays the same. The menu, we're just adding ice cream and renaming it to Ava Pizza. Also, we're adding some coffee and desserts, so you're all welcome, please. Yes, also we have some crepes. So my last name is Zelenenko. I'm originally from Ukraine, and we have delicious crepes that we make. So yes, everyone welcome to come and enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank
Board
you.
members Gardner?
No questions, good luck to you.
Thank you
Mike?
very much.
No questions, happy for you.
Sure, thank you.
D.
No questions, congratulations.
Thank you.
Dan?
What are the hours?
Hours of operation is as mall operating from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sunday from 11 to 6 p.m.
Okay, thank you. All set.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Anyone in the audience have any questions? Mike? Mark?
Just a quick one. What do you fill your crepes with?
Oh, we have a lot of things. Nutella, peanut butter, jelly, bananas, yeah, everything you wish for.
I'll make sure my wife doesn't get your address.
Yeah, we wanted to add Richardson's ice cream because we love local ice cream and Richardson's is the best. So we have a lot of people now coming in just for ice cream. That's really good.
Thank you. Well, we're very happy for you. This is a public hearing. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Okay. So I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And do I have a motion?
Motion to accept the application as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Well, good luck.
Thank you
We'll
very
see you soon. See me with the grandchildren running around. Thank you. All right. The board will review the warrant for the May 18th, 2026 annual town meeting, and it is up on the overhead projector. And we're going to have Town Manager Jill start off. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, and through you to the board and members of the public. I'm Jill Cahill, Town Manager. I'm here with Rodney Connolly, Administration and Finance Director, Aaron Henry, Land Use and Community Planning Director, and we also have Tim Hudon, our Building Commissioner, in the audience. I'm pleased to present to you the draft warrant as proposed for the Select Board consideration. And we will essentially walk you through it one by one, and the board will take it from there.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay? I do want to say that the process that we're going through, and if you want to go to the next slide so I see the calendar. This warrant review will be here 2 nights in front of the Select Board. We'll be back on April 9th at 6 p.m.
5:30, I thought we,
No, I think
oh,
you
we said
said
6. We did
6
say
p.m.
6,
on
that's right.
6
Yep.
p.m. On Thursday night, we will be reviewing mostly capital and DPW-related articles. As I said, we'll go through each article tonight. We will happy to answer board questions. As we go through, you'll see that the page number for the draft warrant is at the bottom of each slide. So this first slide just lets you know we are at the blue lettered portion of this process. From here, next week, the team will be in front of the Finance Committee for their budget review. Board members, thank you. I understand the Select Board Chair has, you guys are each coming on a certain night, so we look forward to working with you through that process. And Finance Committee warrant review will be the 27th, 28th, and 29th if needed, all, again, leading up to annual town meeting on May 18th.
Thank you.
Okay, so article number 1. This is at the request of the Danvers Historical Society, and it is a resolution in honor of the 250th anniversary. And we will be looking for the support of town meeting for the resolution as printed in your warrant.
Board members, questions?
Just a point of information.
Yep.
Are we skipping the special town meeting articles tonight? Which would be unpaid bills?
This other way, yeah. So, are we doing these tonight? Yeah, no, we're doing this tomorrow.
So,
Thursday.
yeah, so we split it up into 2 nights, all
Okay,
capital.
so that's going to be on the
Yeah,
ninth.
capital and the major transfers will all be
Oh,
on
sorry to
Thursday.
interrupt.
Yeah, no worries.
I thought you were thinking about the flow of the meeting for a town meeting. We are hoping to take this Article 1 first before we go into special town meeting.
Okay.
At town meeting. But yes, we are starting tonight with Article 1 of the annual town meeting, which is the resolution.
Questions, Gardner?
Just out of curiosity, was this reviewed by the town archivist?
He
You
wrote it.
Okay,
We did not change any grammar.
he's suspect in my book.
And we didn't change any grammar or punctuation. We
Great.
left it to the Danvers
That's all I need to know is,
Archivist in the Historical Society.
thank you.
Mike, any questions on that?
No questions. Thank you.
Dee?
No questions.
Dan?
No questions.
Okay, no questions for me. Do I have a,
Could I ask a procedural question, Madam Chair?
yes?
Will we be voting on these with a select board recommendation for each of these? Which, neutral, positive, against, if we were against it? Or are we going just to pass each of these and keep going through?
We're the ones that are really setting the warrant. So we're going to vote on them, I think, tonight. We'll do a
Okay,
motion.
and are we going to do it individually?
Individually.
Great, thank
Yeah.
you.
Is that okay?
Oh,
right.
fine, I just want to know how you want it to run the,
Well, if I may, just past history, we've heard everything, then at the end, we'll vote on the entire
sure.
presentation as one vote with the ability to take out anything we want to discuss and have a different vote.
Well, we're going to go, why don't we just go, like we said, we'll go one, vote, and then move on to the, Rather do
My
that.
recollection is the same as Dan's, I just want to know how you wanted to run the
yeah.
meeting.
I'd like to run it this way, the one, and then we'll vote.
And then I move we accept this recommendation with a favorable, I move we move this with a favorable recommendation.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent.
Article number 2 is the election of officers. This is put on the warrant annually, and the potential people in these positions will be presented at annual town meeting. So it gets moved as presented.
Question, board members, Dan?
Nope.
Dee?
No.
Mike?
No.
Gardner?
No questions.
Okay, no questions. Do I have a motion?
I move this forward with an acceptable recommendation, with a favorable recommendation.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you.
Article 3 is the fiscal year 2027 budget. You already did your work on that, so no motion is needed here.
Any questions? Gardner?
No questions.
Mike?
No questions. No questions.
All set.
We're all set. Okay, so there's no motion.
Article number 4, you did,
We should take a vote.
Oh, yeah. Well, we don't have to vote on
don't
that
have to, you
one.
did that at the budget.
We did that. at the
Very good,
budget,
thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you. This one you do need to vote on. Article 4 is the electric division budget. As you know, this comes as a warrant article, and so we'll need your support, and was presented to you during the budget presentation.
Questions? Dan?
No.
Dee?
No.
Mike?
No.
Gardner?
No. I move we forward this with a favorable recommendation.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Okay. And then,
Article 5, the Essex Tech Assessment, again presented to you at the budget hearing on March 7th, and in front of you tonight as a warrant article to be placed on the warrant.
any questions, Gardner?
I will be discussing with the town manager an idea I have. This assessment is predicated on the Essex Techs, and I'm surprised you just haven't had an opportunity to talk to you. Essex Tech created a budget with the assumption of what they would get on the cherry sheet. I'm going to talk to the town manager and legal counsel about offering a amendment where any amount above that above their estimate be returned in portion to each of the communities. So if they were to get $1 million more on their cherry sheet the final number, they will have to return that number. Their budget is predicated on a number, and if they are successful in getting more money, I think that should be returned to the cities and towns. So I'm just letting you know, the board know. I'm going to pass this forward. I'm going to recommend neutral, but I think there needs to be some modification. There are no guardrails for the Essex Tech like we have with Prop 2.5, and I'm concerned about that, so.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Isn't there formula given to them by the state?
The formula for how they assess each city and town is percentage-wise given to the city and state. So if they get more money than they expected from the state, I think they should give it back in the same calculation.
I guess I'm wondering if that's allowed. Is it
That's a
allowed?
question I'll ask of the town manager and ask the town council. I have not had the opportunity to figure that out. I'm just letting you know that I don't want the board to be surprised if they hear something from a board member at a later date about this issue.
That's fair. To you, Madam Chair, what happens now, I'm not familiar with this, but what happens now if they get more than they were supposed to? Do we know?
My presumption is it goes into, if this were the town, if the town estimates X amount of dollars and we get Y amount of dollars, it goes into free cash for our use. However, with Essex Tech, it's not that they have to turn back that extra money. They would get it.
So when we pay, if it turns out that they get more from the state, they don't give us anything back.
At the moment, they don't return money to us.
Now,
And that's what I'm going to suggest.
now, would that also mean that if they do an estimate and they get less from the state, they could come back and charge us more? Could
Don't
the
know.
reverse be true?
I have to do the details. I have to dig in with the town manager and the town council and with Essex Tech representation. We'll find out. But I want to make sure that all municipalities, and including the Essex Tech, I'm sure, estimate conservatively. They don't, to say, we're going to get this much money and hope, and with the anticipation they're going to get that much money. And they may not, if they get much more than that, I would like to see that returned back to the cities and towns. This is a 12.52% increase. Our entire town budget isn't increasing, is 4 point something. They far outpace us with no guardrails or controls. So I want to add this measure of control if possible. I'm informing the board, letting you know of my intent.
Madam Chairman, if I may, through you to Rodney maybe, do we know what we're going to get from the state on the Cherry Streets, or do we have to wait for a budget to be passed by the legislature?
So we use, traditionally in Danvers and most communities, we use the governor's proposal to use our budget. We don't finalize the numbers till we do the recap in
Right, so
December.
the basis at the moment is the
The governor's
governor's
budget, which is pretty
proposal.
standard, yeah.
And that would be the same for Essex Tech, I would assume.
Correct, yep.
And typically, the legislature can do anything with a governor's budget. Okay. Stay tuned.
Okay.
And just not to dwell on this, but to the town manager or Rodney, was it my understanding that if we vote against this budget, it doesn't really matter because you need 3/4 of the participating members to make a difference? Is that correct?
That is correct. You need the other communities, sending communities, would also have to vote against the budget. So, so essentially, yes.
But I believe it's a majority, is that not the case?
It's the voting, it's the vote. We
Right,
get a
it-
weighted vote. It's
No,
not the number of communities.
The weighted
the
vote
budget,
doesn't
you don't-
count on
Doesn't.
not on the budget.
So of the number of sending communities, if a
I
majority.
believe the magic number is 9.
Yes.
But it could be 11. I'm not clear on that. But it's all of the sending community, like a majority of the sending communities would have to all vote down the budget.
Yeah, and I'm ready to, but I won't tilt that windmill. I don't think we'll get the other, it would require lobbying on someone's behalf.
Any other questions?
No, not from me, thank you.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the budget with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And no,
And opposed?
please vote yes. or no.
Yep.
Okay, the article number 6 is, I want to just note that Matt Mitchell, our Senior and Social Services Director, has joined us here tonight, too. Article number 6 is the authorization of the collector of taxes to act. This is another one you do annually to allow our treasurer to collect taxes.
Board members, questions, Gardner, on that?
No questions?
Mike?
No questions.
Dee?
No questions.
All set.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I move we move this forward favorably.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Article number 8, Article number 7, committee reports. And this year, the committee reports include the fiscal year 2025 annual town report, which was distributed to all town meeting members, I believe, in the month of January, and is available on our website.
Deanne, do you have any questions?
No.
Dee?
No questions.
Mike?
No questions.
Gardner, no?
No questions.
Do we have a motion?
I move we forward this with a favorable recommendation.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
All right. We are moving down, so again, some of the ones in between will be on Thursday night. So in your packet, we're moving to Article number 11, which is on your pages 7 through 11. This is a new proposal for a new bylaw related to the registration of vacant buildings. If you read a little bit in your packet, this was brought forward by our team. It's related to public safety and welfare. Vacant and derelict buildings pose both a safety risk and a health risk. We do not want our emergency responders going into these buildings for fire or things like that. They also attract rodents, crime. So they are a problem. We don't think that we have a huge amount of them, but we would like to have a mechanism for getting them either taken down or kind of buttoned up in a more safe way. So this is coming from our end, from my team. And I will point out that, as you guys know, we've been working on potential looking at revenue streams going forward that don't necessarily impact every taxpayer. And this is the one proposal that's included in this warrant that has the potential to bring in some revenue.
Excellent. Questions, Gardner?
No, looking at this, it seems perfectly reasonable. My question is, are the permits fees enough? I'm not trying to necessarily tag on people, but I'm going to use the former Denny's location as an example. It was vacant for quite a while. We had concerns about vagrancy, about break-ins, about, it was horribly graffitied, an absolute eyesore. No one's going to defend that it wasn't. And understanding that the developer was trying to market the property, get the right owner, so on and so forth. But for $1,000 or $2,000, whatever, I'm sorry, for the commercial building, is that enough to entice them to clean up, to fence off the site, to whatever it might be that makes it less of an eyesore, less of a problem for the town? Are the numbers enough? And I guess I'll ask, and I'm presuming through you, Madam Chair, to the town manager, to Aaron, were these numbers the same with other communities? The permit fees with other communities?
Yeah. I'm happy to answer that, but if there's more, we also have Tim. So yeah, they're comparable to other communities. Part of what brought this forward is my past experience in Gloucester. This was a very effective method to move properties along. You obviously set the final number, but these are comparative to our neighboring communities.
Okay.
And I think I should point out that the bigger, I don't want to say stick, but I'm going to say it, is there is a $300 a day fee if they don't register or if they don't comply with keeping it safe. So that's where potentially huge fines build up. So if they're not working with us to make the site safe, or they're not registered, that's $300 a day, and it's each day. So.
All right, I had questions about the residential component, but I'll leave that to experts on the board who are residential people.
Mike, do you have questions?
A couple of questions, please. It says here, on or before November 15th of each calendar year, the owner of the vacant building shall pay the town an annual registration fee to cover the cost of monitoring and ensuring the safety and proper maintenance of such building as identified in the billing statement. So what is the monitoring? How are you going to do that? Somebody's actually going to go out once a month, every 6 months? And what if they put a no trespass? How do you overcome that?
Well, typically, right now, we meet monthly, code enforcement, or I should say, the building office, the health office, and the planning office. We meet monthly, and we kind of have our notes on what we're doing, and what properties are on our enforcement watch list or whatnot. So I think in this case, we are out there monitoring these properties today. We don't have a lot of tools for some of these properties, but we do have to monitor them. Obviously, the fire department doesn't want to go into a building that's dangerous. So this kind of formalizes what we're doing informally now, but obviously offers us a little bit of a proactive stance as opposed to where we are today, which is kind of reactive and just asking nicely for help. Obviously, things can get to a point where we can exercise other authorities that we have, but not all of those are as clean and proactive as this solution would be for us.
So does this give you authority to go into the building?
I don't believe this gives us authority to enter the property. But usually, again, we're having a conversation with these landowners about the risks that the fire department is telling us exist there, or we're having an issue with a resident and the health department is trying to get in. So, again, this isn't us being too heavy-handed. I mean, this is usually, I envision this as being one of the last resorts after we've had a long conversation with the property owner about what's happening on their site.
So I guess what struck me was, because of the safety issue, what if you have a owner that just refuses to let you on the property and whatnot? How do you?
Likely, we put the red X up, and we have the right to initiate the registration process. So they're probably going to accept that registration process over the $300 a day fine that they're going to get if they don't cooperate.
Okay. And on the opposite side of that, if somebody was to be fined, and it was some odd circumstance, do they have a right to appeal it? Is there any appeal on that?
Of course.
Yeah, there is.
In the building commissioner, there is in here that the building commissioner has the discretion. So if they speak to us and somebody calls their neighbor's house appears to be vacant, they're snowbirds, they're in Florida, obviously we can have that discussion. So, yes, they do.
And who would they appeal to? Who?
It goes to everything's to the building commissioner.
Okay. So what if they're mad at the building commissioner? What do they-
Why would anybody be mad at the building commissioner?
We'll just say they,
This goes to Superior Court.
Yeah.
If you want to take
Okay.
it further, you go
Okay.
to Superior Court.
All right.
And usually, again, just so people know, when we get to that spot,
Yeah.
sorry, when we get to that spot with homeowners, we try not to be too confrontational. It's clear we're agreeing to disagree. Sometimes the conversation is, okay, how do we get you where you want to be? If you want to get to a judge, how do we make that happen quickly for you? So again, we don't anticipate this being, we don't want to have to use the big stick, and we usually are working with people for months. Right now, I don't see that changing dramatically. This is just for those folks who dig in and just don't want to participate or help us out, and I think this is a tool that would be helpful.
thank you.
What's that?
I'll say thank you.
D?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I have a few questions. So is this something new, just to regulate current practices? Is that what I'm hearing?
So this is new. This will be a new bylaw for the town of Danvers. It's similar to current practice. They talk and they monitor vacant buildings, but they don't have any authority to make sure they're registered or to find them if they're not working with the town. So kind of that enforcement piece is new.
Okay, thank you. So I have a couple more questions. Usually I will contact staff or the town manager prior to the meeting for more background. I couldn't. The building, does that include, if I'm looking at definition section 2, does that include mobile homes?
Good question. I'm going to look at the building inspector, or the building commissioner. I'm going to assume yes, yes.
Okay, because when I was reading, it didn't, and again, I don't know the technical terms, but it didn't appear to me that that definition included mobile homes. And if we have one that's vacant, is it the same $1,000 fee, or is it less?
The way this is drafted, that would be a residential unit
Okay.
under 3, so it would be subject to that.
So the mobile home will be subject to that. And
Yep.
and you think that that definition does include it?
Tim Hudon, Building Commissioner for the Town of Danvers. Yes, so in that definition under building, it's for the shelter of persons. So that phrase right there for the shelter of persons would include a
encompass.
mobile home, yes.
Okay, thank you. So, concerning the registration, now, if someone has a vacant building, they still pay taxes, is that correct, like property taxes?
Well, they're still getting billed.
So they're still getting their bills? Okay.
Obviously, the vacancy part of it affects the valuation of the property. So yes, they're supposed to still be paying taxes, but it would be better if they had a better use and not a vacant building.
Okay, so if they're still paying property taxes now, we want them to come pay to register that they are not gonna be staying there? Like the way I understand it is to put your building, like the building permit, you have to pay for that. Is that right?
So yeah.
To get your building to be vacant.
Well, no, so yes, if the vacant, the goal here is to not have any vacant buildings because they're public health and public safety risks. So it doesn't really give them permission for it to be vacant, but it puts it on our registration, gives us the ability to work with them on what needs to happen to make it safe, and puts it on our radar so that we can monitor as suggested. It's not a, here's my $500, I'm going to leave now, do something with that. That's not the purpose of this. They're still responsible for that property and that building.
Okay, okay. So if I look at section 8, number 2, it says the building permit being issued. So if I have a building, I'm living there, I have a building permit, I'm living there with my family, then I leave and it becomes vacant. Once that building becomes vacant, do I lose the permit? And if I want to reinstate it, I have to pay for another permit? I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm going to let the building commissioner.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. So I think you're confusing a building permit with a certificate of occupancy. So a certificate of occupancy is what's issued when the structure is habitable. That is typically not something that we would revoke unless there are serious issues with the building. So under Section 8, number 2, the building permit being issued, that's a way for the building to be removed off of the registration list so that we would no longer consider it vacant. So if we come to an agreement with a property owner and the property owner says, I'm going to rehab the building, we're going to renovate it so that it's livable again and somebody will move in, or if it's commercial, whatever the case would be. But so that is a mechanism for them to come off of that registration list so that they no longer have to pay those fees and that they're currently working on improving the building to a habitable standard.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think if there's confusion, I think that's the critical piece here, is that these houses or buildings are dilapidated. We, have a hole in the roof, we have open air, we've found squatters in it. We're not just, you're snowbirding and now you need to register with us. There's a public safety issue with the building that we feel it's not secure. So the building permit is a way to get you off that list because you're remedying that, so.
Okay. Thank you.
You all set? Okay. Dan?
So, thank you. Everybody's assuming that there's a property owner to get these permits, to pay the taxes. There are occasions, and I can think of 3 off the top of my head, where there is no owner living in the building or elsewhere. Who owns the building? It's no mortgage. I know you have a hand up, but just a moment, please.
Finish.
I think on the surface, you're on the right track, but this does not solve the problem of a vacant house with nobody maintaining it, taking care of it, paying the taxes. The taxes, whatever is sold, the town will get the taxes. I don't really follow the purpose of the fees. And 3, I think you should have kind of run this by us early so we can have some conversation on this instead of bringing it to us on April 7th for a vote. There's a lot that's missing.
I can address the first part of that. When we have an example of a absentee owner right now. So there are the last couple years, we've taken some action. I think we did a demo by neglect either last year or 2 years ago. So now we have a couple of tools. One of the tools that we have available to us and we're exercising at 199 Hobart Street is the receivership process through the Attorney General's. I think one thing we've learned through that process, that's a bit slower and a bit more cumbersome. But there are occasions when that's the right tool. So I think in your instance, and again, this isn't like tomorrow we snap and say, oh, here's your $1,000 registration fee. Through the course of that discovery process for a property that comes onto our radar screen, when we figure out that we have a property where we have an absentee owner, this might not be the tool to address that. There was a home here in town that was in probate. Again, that was one where this probably wouldn't fit that. We were in communication with the courts. We understood what was happening. And there was just nothing anybody was going to do in the short term while that worked through the probate system. So this wouldn't be the tool for that job. But there's a lot of properties that we're dealing with right now where this could be helpful. So I think some of that is just understanding and doing our due diligence before we get to invoking this. But your later point, I will...
Yeah, and I will take that. I will say, being new to the position, for me, this was a proposal to bring to you all. It's well vetted throughout the Commonwealths, and this is modeled on those. If there is additional questions and information needed, I'm happy to bring them. But I do think we have the other tools.
I'm just thinking Cherry Street stayed empty for many years. Owner of the property was in Florida. It took us forever to get that resolved. The housing authority took the building over. Fix that up. Trinity Street, that property was derelict for years. Nobody was living in it.
Yeah. As Aaron said, there are other tools. This just gives us another tool.
And I'm saying I don't think it's complete enough.
Well, can I ask the board member what, I want to make sure we're reacting to the 80-20 rule. If there's always going to be an exception. In any zoning, there's always something that was unanticipated. We're never going to have 100% lock on anything. If this covers 80% or 90% of the past issues, I would be in favor of it. If it doesn't open up any unintended consequences. If the unintended consequences is we can't go after a certain property because we can't determine the owner, okay. But that comes under the heading of you don't have to enforce everything equally. You have judgment on which ones you enforce. So I would rather have this language, and if you can, when I'm done, demonstrate where you think there's missing language or unintended consequence to this, as opposed to just, we missed this one particular case, or this one use case. In my world, it's called use cases. We missed this use case where we can't find the owner, okay. But the other 80 or 90% of them where we do and want to enforce this, we can do so properly. So I'd be in favor of pushing this forward and refine it just like we do any other zoning. If we discover that we've got something that's wrong or a hole we need to fill, we'll fill it. But I wouldn't want to stop this progress for the sake of a use case, solid as it is, but rare. So when you say that there's stuff missing, I'd love to hear, and again, I defer to you as a real estate person.
I just got this the other day. I can't tell you for sure what's missing. I know what I know jumps out at me that should be addressed. But I'm not going to rewrite this now between now and May 18th.
I would just reiterate for the board that this is vetted and used, this similar language in many of the communities throughout the Commonwealth. So while I think I agree with Member Trask that, there may be other cases, but as Aaron just stated, there are several cases that we know that this will address. We know it's been working in other communities, and we have other tools that can address some of those specific cases brought up by Member Bennett. So for me, this is a well-vetted, thought-out piece and brought to you as part of a solution from our team as we were going through what are some of the issues we have, where are the revenue holes, and how can we connect revenue to where we have issues and make sure that the work that we're doing to keep these properties going, we're at least covering the cost of the work that we're doing. So for us, this came as a well-thought-out proposal. I understand Member Bennett sees some holes in it, but I do think this is brought to you as a thorough proposal, and I agree that if there were other options to do, there can be amendments on the floor, as well as we can change things as we move forward. But this is an important tool for our staff to have.
You have a question, Dee? Go ahead.
Yeah, and I could be wrong, but I thought that if a property was vacant and there was no owner, because when I was on the Board of Health, there were situations like that. There's already something in the books to handle that, like receivership, or I don't know what they call it, but.
Just exactly yes, you're correct, and that's what Aaron had brought up before. Receivership through the AG's office is one of those options, and I don't know if you brought up another one.
I think it was last annual town meeting, we also did demolition by neglect in certain cases last year.
Exactly.
But yeah, we're using the receivership program right now for 199 Hobart Street.
Exactly.
And again, there's a time and a place where I think that is an appropriate tool. I don't know that that would have been true for every case, and what we've learned through experiences. I would say it's cumbersome in that it's slow and it's deliberate, and there's going to be properties where that might be the only tool we have, but there will be, if we have this one, demo by neglect, we have other options to explore before having to decide.
Anybody else? 2 minutes. The clerk has a timer.
2 minutes. On the clock again.
Go.
The problem here is that we're trying to solve a problem with a sledgehammer instead of a screwdriver. The owner of that property, that's private property, he's paying taxes, he's paying insurance, he's paying other fees to the town, he's paying water, he's paying electric. All this whole proposal comes to be a revenue-generating grab at somebody's private property. And Mr. Bennett has been absolutely correct, because this thing's something that just popped up this afternoon. How is the public supposed to know about this? And one of the things that this item does is puts the town's hand into our private business. If they want to condemn the house, condemn it. Then you have the right to take it. But if that person, or if anyone is paying the taxes, then we should remain out of their business. It's none of your business to interfere. Now, the question I have is, how many of these properties are we talking about? 3? Is that what I see? So we're using a sledgehammer to kill the golden goose. So the thing is, I think this deserves to be thrown back in the wastebasket like it should. Thank you.
2 minutes.
2 minutes is up.
I know, thank you. I know you did.
Madam
good,
Chair,
Mark.
if I may respond, just for clarity. One, the sentiments about they're paying their taxes, they're paying their electric, they're paying their this, they're paying that is not correct in many of these cases. So I just want to point that out. I want to answer his question. We think currently that the number is somewhere between 6 and 12 buildings. And as a reminder, this is about public health and public safety. I don't think any of you want to live next to a vacant building. It creates public health and public safety issues, as we know, and it's not safe to send our public safety first responders into that. So I just wanted to clarify some of the statements that were made that were not accurate.
Over the last 250 years, we have been able to solve that issue. And the thing is that we're not using the tools that we have in our toolbox. We're not enforcing what the rules and regulations are. That's part of the problem. We're creating new rules and regulations.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. All right, 2 minutes, and that's it. Please.
Is this going to address campers or a trailer home on wheels? We've got one right now on Endicott Street. Looks like crap. And we had one at the Liberty Tree Mall for a while. I mean, that's on private property, but still.
That is in our enforcement portfolio right now.
Yeah, but that should
This
be-
would not cover that.
No,
That's an
that's-
RV.
You should go after that stuff.
We are. I just said it's in our enforcement portfolio, and we're working on that. The tools at our disposal today have given us the ability to get there. And it's on the list, and that's under
I
enforcement
just
right
drove by
now.
Endicott Street. I mean, drag. I mean, it's supposed to be beautiful. It's crappy over there. There's a trailer over there with canvas hanging off. It looks like
Yep.
crap. 2 big
I'm
trucks.
telling
in
you,
there.
I think he's
they've
ready.
got a letter, and they're in the enforcement portfolio.
Not being funny. I'm just, you know.
Being taken care of,
Totally
Tony, I
agree.
believe, right?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, Bill, you got to sit up there. Hurry up.
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. If the town is billing them for water service, electric service, what have you, and they're not paid, doesn't the town put a lien on the piece of property at some point so that in the event that this piece of property somehow is try to sell it or give it away, the town still gets their due? That's what we're trying to make sure it's either kept up or the town gets the money to take care of it. Does that make sense?
Madam
Or
Chair, if I may.
is that a question?
Through the town manager?
Yes, we are able to lien on utility bills that are unpaid, but one of the things you'll see in the definition, many of these buildings don't have utilities hooked up anymore. That's part of what makes them vacant.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Adam.
In addressing some of the comments here, this is proactive. This is not specifically reactive. We're not trying to tag 6 or 8 or 12 people who we know are problem children in town. This is, we know there are problem children in town. How do we prevent problem children in the future? And this is proactive work. This is a tool. Some of them work. Receivership is one tool, but not everybody falls into receivership, or are we going to pursue it that way? We have other tools with the health department. This is, and it's not, they stopped paying the bills, they left town, then, their house is still looks okay, except the, community standards are their grass is up to the elbows and the paint's fading. We don't have community standards here. Yet we hear commonly, or I shouldn't say, I have heard commonly, as a select board member, of houses on main drags that are dilapidated, we had one that had, the porch was dismantled for years and years and years and years and held up by long boards. People would complain about it, but we don't have any community standard bylaws. This is, how do we address those issues? The health department and health risk is, if there's rats, we have a way to maintain it. We have a way to address it. This is a proactive measure, not reactive, and it's not specifically a money grab, but money is the lever. Money is the tool to move this along. So I'm in support of this, and if we discover that there's problems, and again, this is, the enforcement is going to be discretionary, just like police have discretionary enforcement when they issue tickets. This is going to be discretionary, and we're only going to pick those things that fit into the mold. And if we discover that there's unintended consequences that harm people, they have the ability to protest against this, to ask for relief. I see no harm, and we'll never get a single piece of zoning change that is 100% accurate for all eternity, one step right out of the gate. So I anticipate that this may be modified in the future, and would expect it should be. It evolves.
Thank you.
So-
Would you like to make a motion?
I move that we move this along favorably.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Dan's,
I was going to make a comment, but you jumped into the motion.
okay.
So this is reactionary. It's going to take me some weeks to go through this before I can vote for it on town meeting floor. I need to have a better understanding of what it's saying and what's left out. And again, if we had had a little advance notice, I would have appreciated it.
And I appreciate your comment, Member Bennett. I'm happy to work with you on it. And as I said, this may be one of this is my first warrant moments.
understand.
And it won't happen again.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take that. Thank you.
I'm still no.
You'll I know you are.
But maybe we'll get him to yes
You
by
have
May
it, Madam
18th.
So
Clerk,
noted.
right? So noted. Okay,
All right, where are we?
number 12.
Article 12. This is acquire easements and public access to utilities. These specific ones are related to 128 Maple Street, also known as Maple Square. They also own the site across Hobart Street. And these easements are no cost, and they specifically give us, and if there's really detailed questions, Aaron's your man, but they give us public utility access on the Maple Street site, and they give us access to the sidewalk on the Hobart Street site. And if I'm saying it correctly, the owners own the sidewalk up to the granite curbing on Hobart Street, so we need this access so that we continue to use it as a public sidewalk.
Questions, Gardner?
No questions.
Mike?
No questions.
Dee?
No questions.
Dan?
No questions, a lot of maps to look at.
Do I have a
10 pages of maps.
Yes.
Do I have a motion?
I move we forward this favorably.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, Article 13. This is a new one for us, and Aaron can help us through this if we need to. So what we're looking to do here is we're asking town meeting to give the select board the authority to take any easements that are at no cost to the town throughout the year. Sometimes things come up with projects, and we're in a position where easements need to be taken in September, and we're not there again until, and obviously until town meeting in either special or annual in May. So this is new to us this year. Many other communities use this. It just gives the select board the ability to put us in a position to take these, again, no-cost easements at the time when it's more important, so that we're not putting kind of legal Band-Aids on these to carry us through.
Great. Dan, question?
None.
Dee?
So is this gonna be a yearly thing? So we're only getting
Annual.
that until July of 2027, and then at next
it
year
again.
town meeting, we'll ask again?
Yes, you'll see
Okay.
this on a lot of other town warrants.
Okay, thank you.
Mike?
Are the easements on private property?
Yeah, most of the time. They're private property and giving
So-
us access.
So it's just you're gaining access, correct?
Yes.
And that's it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Access, it might be to also maintain the utility, so like,
Yes.
there's a drainage structure and it's cutting a corner, and we need not only access, but the rights to maintain it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Gardner?
Property owner, if I may, would be affected because they couldn't build on or within that easement.
Yeah.
So, but they'd have to be,
But they'd be notified,
They'd have to be.
They're
They're
giving it,
party to it.
they've drafted it.
okay, okay.
Okay, that's the question I had for clarity. This is where the owner has agreed, not that they're compelled to do it, where they've said, yes, we're okay with the fact that you're going to take our building rights away. And I'm just hearkening back to when the gas pipeline went through in the port. If the property owner is not, this is only when the property owner has said, yes, go ahead, I'm fine with it, I don't need any money for it, I'm good. We're not, this isn't a taking, this is an accepting. I just want to make sure that I'm clear in the language, because sometimes language is important, and language is legal in these cases. So, okay, if it is a voluntary donation, it's basically you're accepting a donation. Okay, I'm fine with that, thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I move we forward it favorably.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right. Article 14, this, well, it's titled demolition delay. It's just an update to the demolition delay article that you did last 2 years? 2 years ago? Last year? Last 2 years you've done it. And this is adding, I think what and Aaron staff's the Preservation Commission, I believe we have a member here. So either of them can probably speak to this better than I. But just the short version is, right now, they're looking for a third option when they deem something, they can deem something historically significant or not historically significant. They're looking for a third option to say, yes, it's historically significant, but the work that they're doing doesn't change kind of the significance. They might be doing the stairs on the inside or something like that, so that they don't have to go through then the next long process of a public hearing.
Excellent. Board members?
Thank you.
Mike, you have a
I'm
question?
reading it.
No questions.
Gardner?
I'm all set with this.
Dee?
No questions.
Dan?
And they're correct, this will give the Preservation Commission the option to declare it historically significant if it is, but because it's not substantial, they can continue with the job, with the work, and not have to come back for a public hearing 30 days after that.
That's good.
So it makes a lot of sense.
Excellent. Do I have a motion?
I move we forward this favorably.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
And I forgot to mention earlier, when we were joined by Chris Sanborn, our Director of Natural Resources and Harbor Master. Thank you. Reminded me that you walked in when we got to your article. Article 19 is maintenance dredging. This is an annual article that you guys see moving forward.
Do I have questions, Gardner?
No questions?
Mike?
Yeah. No, we're just putting 20 grand aside, right, each year? Is that what we're asking? That's it? Okay, no questions.
Dee?
No questions, but again, I said it before and I'll say it now. We're putting 20 grand aside, but the River Committee and Chris and the volunteers there, they do an outstanding job throughout the year, getting as many grants as they can to make sure that we don't have to dip into our pockets. So kudos to them. So.
Dan?
When do we anticipate doing the Four Rivers?
I don't know, I should check with Rodney first on this one.
Well, that's my second question.
I think the goal was 2028. That's likely being pushed out another year or two at the very least, and it's all hinges upon the availability of state grant funding, and we all know where that is right now, and it's a very competitive grant as well.
So based upon that, we'll probably get another 100,000 into the bank towards this? over the next 5 years?
Sure.
Good answer.
And what is the prognosis for getting state funds? We got quite a bit the last time.
Yeah, well, again, it's a very competitive grant. We're up against some larger harbors, New Bedford, Salem, Boston, so there's
Timing.
not a lot of money to go around, so it's all about timing, yes.
Thank you.
Excellent. Do I have a motion?
I move we forward this favorably.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're doing pretty well.
Okay, we are going to move now to the two citizens petitions. I just want to review what's happened so far with them and what the process is, so that we're all on the same page. So Article 30 and Article 31 are both citizens petitions initiated by citizens who are here. At least I know Melissa's here. So staff does not prepare for these. These are initiated by the citizens. Because these are both zoning related, they both went to the planning board first. And the planning board is required to have a public hearing, which they did, and they're required, these are both by Mass General Law, they're required to prepare a report for town meeting. The chairman, Lou George, asked at the meeting last night that I update the select board in advance of what they voted last night, so you have that information. The next step, obviously, you all set the warrant. So I think it's important to note that these citizens petitions will move forward to the warrant as written. That's also required by the law. So you guys can discuss it and ask questions, but they will be moving forward this way. Planning board will make their report to town meeting, and obviously Finance Committee is responsible for the main motion at town meeting, as is past practice and tradition in Danvers. So I was asked to update you on the planning board recommendations or reports to the committee. So on Article 30, which is the citizens petition to amend table use regulations, the planning board voted an unfavorable, 4-0 unfavorable action as presented, but has asked for it to be referred back to the planning board for more review. And for Article 31, which is citizens petition to amend the zoning map, the planning board voted 4-0 unfavorable action with no referral back to planning board. I turn it over to you, Madam Chair, and like I said, I think the petitioner for Article 30 is here.
Okay.
I don't know if no, that's 31, you're second. Yeah, so you have someone for both.
Yep. Dan, do you have questions?
I just want to make a comment. Home pet sitting by special permit. Currently, we allow this in some areas. They want to expand it. But there's no requirement for the home business to provide a walking area for the dogs, an area to exercise. On Page Street, the property is on a asphalt pad. The dogs get walked on the historic property, on the streets, on the sidewalks, and are not always cleaned up. So I think any dog sitting or grooming shop should be required to provide an exercise pen or area for the dogs. And not to do so, it just makes no sense. And there's a health issue right there. So I understand the planning board said unfavorable, but with recommendation for further review, is that correct?
To be sent back to the planning board for further review.
I'll have to go to that planning board meeting, I guess. Thank you.
Dee?
Yeah, thank you. I attended the two planning board meetings. I think last night they were here at what, 11 p.m., 11:30?
It was about 12 a.m.
So I'm privy with all the discussions that transpire, so there's not really much that I can add, except to support the planning board recommendation to be sent back to them. I listened to all the debates and all the comments, and I'll support whatever the planning board have put forward to us as a recommendation.
Thank you. Gardner?
Understandably, these issues come up every so often, and they're wrapped in emotion, but we're here to protect the interests of the town. Sometimes This is a reaction that is supposed to be progressive and forward-thinking. What happens to the next one and the one after that and the third one after that? There are no by rights for pet sitting at this moment. If you look at table E1 on page 279 of the zoning laws, every C1 through C5, I1 through D1 or D2, all special permits, all have special conditions. Everyone is thought of individually. But those are in commercial areas. This is now asking it to be in a residential area. And if you make a compelling argument before the ZBA, you could have one in any, and it's asking for all Rs, R1, 2, and 3. I don't see that making that sweeping statement benefits the neighbors, the community, the neighborhood, whatever it might be. I think that it is appropriate to go back to the planning board because they do that thoughtful work. They do the planning. They look at all of the historic applications of when you make something by right or you make something by special permit. And I appreciate the sentiment that the citizen put into this, but I would want those professionals to have the opportunity to dig deep and think of things that the citizen may not have considered because they're obviously concerned about their situation. They know that they have a yard that they would be able to walk the dogs or whatever it might be. But it's not about this one spot zone. It's about the entirety of the town now. And I don't feel we should push, I don't feel it should go, as a town meeting member, I wouldn't vote, I would vote to return this to the planning body. Those are my thoughts.
Mike?
Everybody said my thoughts, so I'm in favor of it returning to the planning board as well.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I move we forward this with an unfavorable recommendation.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Before,
Yes,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
Madam Chair, before we vote, is the petitioner entitled to speak on the matter before we vote?
I would
They
think
can if
so.
they want. Is anybody here to speak? Yep. Melissa, you here? Do you want to go up to the podium? Introduce yourself, hon?
I don't know, I was just.
No,
a
that's fine, yeah.
procedural question. I'm not sure.
3 minutes, okay?
Sure.
Thank you, hon.
My name is Melissa Nardone. I'm at 184 Center Street. I understand the planning board has voted not to recommend this proposal at this time, and I appreciate that it is still being moved forward to town meeting for further consideration. Based on the feedback from planning board and the public, this proposal I have narrowed down. I was going to do a motion to amend on the floor at town meeting to just have it be small owner occupied in-home dog care by special permit in the R3 zoning district only. I support the process to be continued to be reviewed. This type of use, it already exists in Danvers, and my goal is to simply bring it into a regulated and transparent framework where it can be properly reviewed and managed. I believe this approach is going to protect neighborhoods while also allowing the town to responsibly address something that already exists rather than to ignore it. So when I first did this amendment and I added the residential 1, 2, and 3, I understand now R1 and 2 can be a little tricky. R3 is larger square footage, 30,000 backyards, more land and all that, and that's understandable. So I'm just trying to push this forward where it already exists in Danvers. It's been around for years. There's many people doing it, and there's been no reported complaints about any of these existing doggy daycares that are happening. And I just want to move this forward to legalize it just like it is in other towns to protect what's already happening instead of ignoring it, to just enforce something that's, it's a big part of communities. It's needed. I understand the concerns with the neighbors not wanting dogs barking in their backyards and everybody having dogs. And although residents are allowed to have 4 dogs, everybody does need to apply for a special permit to have 5 dogs or more. I'm just trying to do the same thing, but as my livelihood, that I have been doing this in Danvers. When I first started, of course, I didn't understand and realize it was an illegal thing, and it's being illegal all over the town. And there's been no problems other than the one time somebody said something about me doing it in my home. I don't have dogs that bark all day. The concern is people think there's going to be dogs barking in their neighborhoods and all that. As a professional and an experienced dog person, I don't bring dogs into my home that are going to disturb my neighborhood, that are going to bark all day and night. I do have a huge fenced-in backyard. They have their exercise. I keep it clean. I have duty calls comes, cleans up after. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to per the town that is allowing me while I'm appealing this. And I'm just trying to make it where we could all do this. And the people that are doing this now, they've been doing it for a long time. It's happening in Danvers, and I'm just trying to bring it to the town and make it where it's regulated and enforced. The Board of Health would come once a year just to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to. It's not like we're going to need a full-time dog officer policing all these homes that are doing doggy daycares. You have to apply for the special permit. The special permit, also, the ZBA is allowed to deny the special permit if they want to. So I'm just asking for to be able to have the opportunity to apply for a special permit, especially for the people that are doing it in this town, such as me. It's been my livelihood, and I haven't had an issue. So here I am today fighting for my livelihood and what I feel is very beneficial to many communities who would prefer to have their dogs in a small environment versus a doggy depot that people seem to compare as the same thing. That's all. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I just want to make sure you understand that my vote for forwarding this unfavorably is on the language of the citizens petition.
Correct.
I support your objective, which is to try to find a way to legalize this.
Yes.
It's not unlike when we had EFLAs. We all knew before EFLAs were happening,
Yes.
extended family living areas, that people were renting out rooms or providing extra opportunities, putting in a kitchen for mom and dad in the garage. We knew it was happening, and unless enforcement was requested, wasn't pursued. EFLAs now give us the tool to say, this is legal, here's what you can do by right, go ahead, and if you're outside of that, then you have to deal with it differently. So the intent is sound. The language, we're only voting on the specific language that you offered because that is what's going to go to town meeting.
Yeah.
And it includes R1, 2, and 3. And I think that the offer by the planning board to continue the conversation, this isn't over, this isn't stop what's going on. I believe you're still covered until resolution of some sort but with the planning board. But let them do their deep analysis,
Correct. Yep.
of which I'm not knowledgeable enough to do that deep analysis. That's their skill set. That's their subject matter expertise. So don't take this as a no, we don't want it. Take it as I'm just reacting to the language.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so we have a motion?
I think I moved it unfavorably,
Okay, we did already,
and I
right?
think it was seconded, but I don't think we
Mike
voted
was
because I think,
unfavorable, and then Mike seconded, and
All in favor?
With a recommendation to return it to the planning
Returning.
board?
of unfavorable, yeah.
Yeah.
Return, if you wanted to say return to the planning board, I'm happy to
I would
amend it.
support that.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
I move
return.
we forward the.
Can we even add that procedure? We can only vote on the citizen petition. We
That's
can't-
correct.
We can't add anything to it.
No,
We can't
no.
add or delete.
So, right, and again, we're only recommending to the FinCom what we'd like them to consider as our direction as town leaders. They'll make their own decision, so I'm recommending unfavorable and to return to the planning board.
Do I have a second? Second, okay.
Mike seconded.
Mike, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And the next one is Article 31, which is the citizens petition related to amending the zoning map. And I think there is someone here, but if the board wants to discuss it first, however you guys want to do it.
Yep, questions? Gardner?
No, I looked at this. I would like to hear from the petitioner. I did not watch the planning board yesterday. And so I tend to leave their expertise to them and look for their recommendation, which I understand is 4-0 unfavorable. While this is in a residential R3 district, it has been performing as a variance for 75 years. No? Yes? Yeah, it is a variance now for the past 75 years, not residential. It does abut residential, so sure, you're going to run up. So somewhere there's a dividing line. We just have to set that. And so I want to hear from the applicant why we would make this consideration. And the other concern I have, and this is probably through you to the town manager, to the legal counsel, is if, because it specifically speaks to a ice rink, if this were to pass, but then the ice rink were not to come to fruition for whatever reason, does it revert back to its original R3 designation, or are we changing forever the designation? Because, and again, this language is exacting. It's going to go before the Attorney General, and as all our warrants and language do. So I want to know what happens in the event of it passes, but the ice rink doesn't happen.
I can offer an answer. So specifically, the citizens petition is seeking to rezone assessor's map, parcel 15A, map 47, from R3 to highway corridor zone. That is it. That's the petition request. Now, what they're saying when they refer to the ice rink is what they would like to then do to the property after that. That would require a permitting process. So again, we don't know, but how that will play out. But the question before town meeting is, should the town move it from R3 to highway corridor zone? If that is approved, that changes the map, and then all the table of uses in highway corridor zone become open and available for the property to pursue exercising.
Okay, I don't mean to put too fine a point on it. Is the language here exactly what was written on the citizens petition and signed by people?
Yep.
Okay, so it does say to facilitate a future development. It does say, I'm doing this for this reason. Not I'm doing this, and in the narrative, it talks about, hey, this is why I want to do it, so on and so forth, which we do on many warrant articles. This is saying, I'm doing this because I want an ice skating rink, which is, hey, great, no problem. There is a correlation here, one for the other. And so I just want to make sure that I understand that if the ice, you're saying it stops at the, after, where it says as defined in chapter 185, section 20, stop. You're saying there's a hard stop there. And I'm asking if if it actually isn't.
Conditional
in
zoning
whole.
is illegal in Massachusetts, so you can't have what's called a floating zone. You can't have a set of conditions that, if met, the property moves from one category to another. So again, this is action on moving that property from R3 to highway corridor.
So I guess I'd ask the town manager through you, Madam Chair, can we just confirm with legal counsel that it is expressed as conditional? I understand what you're saying. You can't do that.
Yep.
Does that make the language moot, or do we accept the fact that it is a hard stop? It's just a change no matter what, no matter who's going to use it in the future. So if we can just get that confirmation that it's legally written, I'm fine. So, but at this time, I'd like to hear the rest of the board and what others think. I'm all set. Those are my questions.
Thank you. Mike?
I'm probably going to say the same thing in different words, but I guess I'm worried that if it goes to the highway corridor plan, then it's not necessarily going to be an ice rink. It could be anything else, right?
Well, there's a table of allowed uses in highway corridor zone, and one would think they would pursue something that was permittable in that zoning district.
Right, but it could be a really tall building, right? next to some houses there. That's what I'm
55
worried-
feet is the permitted height in highway corridor zone.
Okay. So that's just my concern.
Okay,
That's all, thank you.
thank you. Dee?
Yeah, I mean, here again, I was here last night. I did listen to the debate, past two planning board meetings, and there were a lot of abutters here last night that had some concerns about this move. So here again, I will go with the planning board recommendation. There were a lot of back and forth, and ultimately, they recommended not to move this forward with a favorable. So,
Dan?
Thank you. Through you to maybe Rodney again. Hockey rinks taxable, property tax-wise?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, I believe it's a private hockey rink, it would be taxable, yep.
It would be taxable, but a school would not be.
It would have to meet certain qualifications, but
Okay. And that's an allowed use under highway corridor schools?
I'm going to punt to Aaron on that one.
Generally speaking, schools qualify for what we call the Dover Amendment. If the institution qualifies for the Dover Amendment, it can go anywhere in the Commonwealth. Local zoning does not apply to those uses.
Same with churches.
Correct. Yep.
they can.
They can, yeah.
Is
So,
it- yeah.
just to be clear, they're asking for a zoning change, which doesn't guarantee a hockey rink, it just guarantees highway corridor, which opens it up to anything that's on that, a list.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Who's here to speak? Anybody here to speak on that? Please go up and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. I'm Brett Hanley. I'm here with Broadway Capital, representing Michael Renault and the company. Do you want me to start with what we're planning on doing? Do you guys have questions for me? It's
Sorry, you said Broadway Capital. Is that the developer or
That's
the
the developer.
financing?
Developer.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we're proposing a hockey rink, and it is currently an R3 zone. R3 zone. We're trying to turn it into a highway corridor zone. It's abutting both residential and Home Depot, so it's not just a spot zone. It is just going to be a continuance off of that Home Depot HCZ zone. We have some environmental issues that we have to deal with. We're planning on doing sound testing for the butters. We're planning on doing traffic testing to make sure we're all set there. To answer one of your questions with the initial, we are fully going forward with the hockey rink if we can get the approval through Select Board and the town meeting. We do have some connections with True North Bank. We've worked with them in the past. They are very interested in this deal if we can get it approved as a highway corridor zone. That's really it.
Okay. Anybody else? Any questions?
Do
you have a question?
To you, Madam Chair, to Aaron or the town manager. The old building that's there now, is it considered vacant? Will it fall into?
Well, if that bylaw were to be adopted, it would not qualify yet because it has not been vacant for more than 180 days. And I would also say, case in point, sorry, we're jumping back to that conversation, that property at this point does not display any sort of public safety problem. So I think it would take some time before we started being concerned that it's vacant and becoming an attractive nuisance where we would exercise that authority. But no, it is not vacant yet.
Thank you.
Bill, go ahead. Madam Clerk has her timer.
Yep, I got it. Wait, yep.
At the clock. Bill Bradstreet, town meeting member, Precinct 1. I was at that meeting last night and listening to everything that was going on. My thought for the best use of that property would be for the town to take it either by eminent domain or if we could afford, and I'm sure we can, purchase it and keep it as open space or even a park. not to see a hockey rink up there. We're losing green space. I'd rather see it remain that way. My observations. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Joanne.
Joanne Magucci, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 2. I agree with Bill. I was at the meeting last night, and we were also at the meeting 2 weeks ago when they presented this at the Planning Board. And I agreed to suggest to the town to maybe even split the lot and use, there's no map up, but you have wetlands that kind of split the property. So you have the wetlands, and then you have the large parcel where they want to supposedly build a hockey rink. A lot of the neighbors, that's basically their backyard, and they do not want it. Not one is in favor of it. And a lot of them would like it to be just kept as conservation land by the town, either purchase it or take it by eminent domain. There's a lot of wildlife back there that the neighbors enjoy. It's a sound barrier to 114 and that commercial highway zone. You know, the residents expressed that they pay a lot in taxes, about 15,000 a year to the town. And so I hope the town can really consider that offer, is maybe just keep the front parcel and split it, and either, you know, do a deal with the real estate developer and buy that land and keep it as conservation land. I see you can't keep chipping away at the residential zones in the town, because it's almost, I don't want to use this word, but it is almost like a cancer, because it's going to just keep going. Because all of a sudden you're going to be encroaching on LeBlanc Drive, and then that area is going to be kind of ruined by whatever is being put in. And then all of a sudden you're going to be on Watson Parkway, which is already a speedway cut through from 114. They have a lot of hurdles with this property, and I am still questioning why they would use this property where there are other really good options in Danvers to build a hockey rink. That still is a huge question in my mind, where there's so many hurdles. Traffic, you can't even take a left out of that property onto Route 114 to get on Route 1. You'd have to go right, and I would bring you into Rosewood to turn around, or people will turn around in Watson. That's a huge traffic problem for that neighborhood now, additional. The wetlands, the conservation, if it's a hockey rink, there's a lot of chemicals somebody brought up. There's so many hurdles for that property. It's on ledge. Would they have to blast? I don't understand where it's going. And what bothers me is, are they using that as sort of an emotional response, saying, oh, this is great, Danvers really needs a hockey rink, and to kind of get the emotional support behind it, and not really, and just to get it turned into a commercial highway corridor zone and not keeping it residential. I kind of have that feeling, and I don't like that. So I hope you consider that too, because I cannot see a hockey rink going there. I really can't. And I just don't like this kind of bait and switch that I feel it is by mentioning the hockey rink.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, a commercial developer has decided to sink millions of dollars into it, and I'm sure they're taking all these considerations into account. I am offended by the bait and switch. I don't even know the developer. I have no interest, I have no position in this. But conjecture on why they're doing it and calling it bait and switch, to me, is inappropriate. So I'm voicing my concern about that language.
All right, Nova, did you want to go up?
Nova Salmon, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. I just wanted to sort of defend the development of it. It is right next to Home Depot. The neighbor to the left of it is kind of up a little bit on a ledge. They're not directly next to each other. You can see the Home Depot from the parking lot of the Bay State Animal Clinic. And I'm not a big fan of the slippery slope argument that, like, just because one thing happens means it's going to continue to happen all the way down the street into the other streets. This is one parcel we're talking about. I do share the concern of it not being a hockey rink. But if just because we say, no, we can't, we don't want to change this to a highway corridor, that doesn't mean it's going to be developed into something we do want. So if we can, it is tough because we can't say it has to be a hockey rink. But if we can have that there, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a hockey rink there. They can't build on the whole thing. They're going to conserve the part that they have to. It's not a terrible option for that space. So I just wanted to say, like, we need to take the emotion out of it. Just like Joanne just said, that, like, it can't just be about the neighbors hate it and it's their backyard. It's not their backyard. Some of the backyards are very far away from this location. But that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mark.
Not many of us here can go back to the 1995, 97 timeframe when Home Depot was built. Home Depot used that property with the animal hospital or a veterinary hospital as a buffer. That was the boundary that was established between the highway corridor and the residential area. So I think what we're seeing is exactly the creep that we're talking about, is that every postage stamp in this town is being looked at for development. This one is sort of wrapped up in the R3 zoning and is residential. They have an opportunity to build a residential property in there. So why are we even talking about it? And the only reason I can see is that it's a postage stamp that's available, and we're developing every single piece of property. Maybe Mr. Bennett knows the story from behind 1990s when we went through this type of...
Line lumber. They built the biggest Home Depot on the East Coast at that time.
Absolutely. And the thing is that was the boundary that was established. Let's keep the boundary. Let the residential stay residential. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Okay, do I have a motion?
I move we hold this is an unfavorable recommendation.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
4-1. 4-1?
4-1.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you. We're skipping ahead to Article 34, which is page 26 and 27 on the book, electronic voting. This was brought to you at your request through the Select Board. The proposal, we worked with Town Council, and I'm available to answer some questions, and I know that I got some, again, we worked with Town Council, so I have some feedback there as well. So happy,
Okay,
jump in when you guys are ready.
thank you. Dan, do you have any questions?
No questions.
No. Gardner?
Yes. I'm trying to find the language that I had marked up. Can I ask to come back to me while I find
Sure.
my
Yep.
my
Dee?
document, something's out of it.
Are you ready? Or?
Yes, so just a clarification. the sheet of paper that we got, was that in replacement of some of the language?
No, I handed you guys a piece of paper that I worked on with Member Bean for when we get to his part of the discussion.
Oh, okay. I
That'll be
see.
introduced tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
So I'm still looking at the original bylaw. Okay. Okay, so Article 34. So there were two sections there. So there was Section 6, which is the voting, and Section 7. So on Section 6, the way I understood the article, that first section established the different ways we can conduct votes, the methods of voting. Is that correct?
Correct, and it just adds the electronic voting.
Correct. So I would do the electronic voting. My notes were to switch the A and the B. So the electronic voting will come first before any other type of voting, if that makes sense. So if we look at that section, Article 34, Section 6, voting, A will be a counted vote by, or whatever language lawyers think, an electronic tally system used by itself or in conjunction with something else. So that will be the first thing for me.
It would be big A.
Exactly. So A will come first and then B will come after.
You mean the other way around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
B's first.
yes,
B's first, then
and then
A. he
A
wants.
after.
Yeah.
That's what I had for my note. If now the public records part of it, I had a look and I don't know what other board members think. If you look at public record for any substantive motions, including but not limited to those involve the appropriation of money. Where is it? I'm at 7 now. This is section 7. So the fact that a record of how each member voted shall be made available to the public by the town clerk as soon as practical following the adjournment of the session. I just want to clarify. So as it is now, we have a voice vote. There's no record of how the members vote. Then if we have a standing vote, people can stand, and then each precinct captain counts the number of votes and then says it to the town moderator. So is it possible that here the town clerk could, actually had a link, the town clerk could report the number of votes by precinct instead of by individual? The same way we're doing now. So we will use the electronic voting. If someone wants a record of it, it'll be like precinct 1, there were 12 people who voted yes, 6 that voted no. Precinct 2.
So we've been advised, because it's a representative town meeting, they're elected legislators. So if they, like you, if you had a roll call vote, you would be required to, that's part of the record, part of the meeting minutes. So using your electronic voting, it would associate it with a person. It might be displayed as an aggregate, similar to a standing vote. It might be displayed as 75 yes, and my math's going to be wrong. I'm going to go with, don't look at another number, no. But no, the record, using an electronic voting system, there will be a record associated with each town meeting member on the votes used by the electronic voting. That also does not technically have to be displayed, but it is a record that's available, that would be available as a public record as soon as practical.
Okay, so that's the difference between the representative town meeting and the open town meeting.
Correct.
In this case, the record stays.
Yes.
And because you're representing other people, they're entitled to know how you voted. Is that correct?
That is correct. And we did speak with legal counsel about voice vote versus electronic voting. And the reason a voice vote isn't recorded is, one, you are saying it out loud, so it's not kept secret from anyone. Rodney knows how I vote. Aaron knows probably the person in front of me. And the moderator is making a collective judgment on the voting. So not the same as electronic vote. So same as if you did have a roll call, there would be a record of all the votes.
Okay, thank you. That answers that. Section 7, Part A. At the discretion of the moderator or by the majority vote of town meeting members. So if we remove at the discretion of the moderator, so on that section, I think if we just say that voting should happen by electronic vote, and then if that fails, then we can use other means. Will we be stripping away anything from the moderator? Or will she still be able to maintain her statutory, what do you call it?
Her position? Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you're taking away Mike's thunder. Sorry, Member B.
Just going to go wait in the truck. We'll wait outside. Let me know when you're done.
But just to address, so yes, the second piece of paper that you mentioned that we worked with Mike has a couple of options that contemplate what you're talking about. And again, we were able to have a conversation with council, and essentially, Chapter 39, Section 15 of Massachusetts General Law establishes the powers of the moderator. But it also, the second paragraph in there, allows town meeting to pass bylaws to amend the procedure. So you're changing it, and I think the note in the amendments, the proposed notes give you some pointers. But depending on how you decide to do it, she still has the power, what does it say? Shall preside and regulate the proceedings, decide all questions of order, make public declaration. I shouldn't say she, they. But it also gives the authority. So you're really, by putting electronic voting as the default method, that's a procedural or an operational choice that the town meeting has. The way, to go back to the language as presented, it would leave the discretion with the moderator, but the power in the town meeting, similar to as it is now, 7 people stand up and you can demand a roll call vote, electronic vote. So town meeting still retains some power that way. So either way is legal, if that's the question you're asking, and it's the preference of the body.
Okay. Well, I had a couple more things, but maybe it might be better that I pass it on to Select Board. It seems like you've done more. You've done more extensive research on this than I have. So take it away, and I might have another comment or questions. But sure.
Go ahead, Mike. Go for it.
Okay, all right.
Let's go.
I really just was looking to amend it so that it did say, as stated here in Section 6 under voting, that one, electronic vote system for all votes by all members unless it's determined by the moderator, who is in charge of the meeting. I added that the electronic system is not functioning, and at which point we would revert back to voice votes or counting vote, standing vote, et cetera. So I was looking up just to make it default to that at every meeting, just because I felt not guessing, but going back and forth would be cumbersome and possibly confusing. And I understand why it has to be posted, your vote, because it is different than a standing voice vote, so that makes sense. That was really it. I think you were running with it, Dee, so.
If I may, Madam Chair, to help the audience understand. So Member Bean brought this to us, and then we did, the paper that they're looking at for consideration by the board includes 3 options. So what Member Bean just read, and then 2 options proposed, written by lawyers instead. One gives it a little bit more flexibility. Option 2 makes it the default method. And I guess one of the things that gets at the most, one of the biggest concerns about the language, which I would recommend we should think about how we, if we go with Member Bean's language, we do have to talk about not functioning. That's, they suggest language, because that is too vague. So their language, I think it says unavailable, impractical, and not functioning reliably. Anyway, so option 2 is kind of a compromise. And then option 3, as I think the title said, would be delete the existing voice vote declaration completely. So you have a couple things to discuss here with notes under each, just so that people in the audience know what's in front of them.
Did you, Mike?
I think, I mean, the second part there, option 2, it says voting shall be ordinarily conducted by vote using electronic tally. And then the rest cleans up the fact that it is the actual vote. Okay, that's good. The alternative method, the moderator in exercise of their judgment use of permit voting, voice vote, counted vote, standing member standing, written ballot. Yeah, so that's saying that if the electronic system is unavailable or impractical, okay, that's what the alternative method is. It's just the
Yeah,
legal,
it's
the
still-
legal statement of,
Still establishes, do you want me to read it, Madam Chair?
Yes.
To the public. So it would say Section 6, voting, subsection 1, default method, voting shall ordinarily be conducted by a counted vote using an electronic tally and system called the electronic system, which may be used A, by itself to reflect the vote, or B, in conjunction with a voice vote. Subsection 2, alternative methods. The moderator may, in the exercise of their judgment, use or permit voting by A, a voice vote, B, a counted vote by members standing, C, a written ballot, or D, a roll call poll, whenever the moderator determines that such method will be better to ensure the efficient, orderly, or accurate conduct of the meeting, or where the electronic system is unavailable, impractical, or non-functioning reliably. So I think it's getting at, one, when you're going through the beginning kind of election of officers, some of those things, to move it more efficiently. And then it says, like, it just covers what we talked about with Mike's words not functioning, a little bit more coverage on that.
So, and this will be for section 6, and then section 7, will that be modified as well?
We would just have to, what does it say, delete section 7A would be deleted.
Okay.
Yes. If you go with option 2, that would include deleting section 7A, which I'll read if I may, Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
That would delete section 7A, authorization at the discretion of the moderator or by a majority vote of the town meeting members present and voting. Any action may be determined by the use of an electronic voting system. When such system is used, it shall serve as the official count and shall supersede a voice vote or standing vote. Town council's recommendation is that is no longer needed because you've established electronic voting as the default system.
I have a question, please.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
If you went with option 2 and the moderator in their discretion decided to use voice vote for a particular item, if 7 town meeting members stand and ask for electronic vote, does that still pertain for that?
I think so, but let me double check, because as I was reading that, I was thinking the same thing. I believe the 7 standing, I know the 7 standing is Mass General Law section, chapter 39, section 15, so that always remains.
Okay.
And drives it to what?
To a 2/3 vote of town meeting is required by statute, yep.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mike, I think you were asking
Yes,
if a voice vote was taken or was recommended.
Was recommended. by
But
the-
then 7 people stood, can that force it to an electronic vote?
That's right.
And your language was talking about a two-thirds. We weren't talking about two-thirds.
Yes, so I would have to double check that with council. I was reading it at the same time. They suggested taking out 7A, but maybe we take out that as Dee suggested at the discretion of the moderator and leave in the by a majority vote of the town meeting body. But I leave that to you, and I can, if whatever the will is, I'll make sure it gets cleaned up appropriately. But I get what you're getting at. Can they force an electronic vote?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right,
The 7 members.
yeah,
Right.
right.
So
We'll say that there's a moderator in place that's bouncing back and forth and it's becoming chaotic.
it would, yeah.
If 7 stand up, can they,
And they always have the option to call for a roll.
so 7 members could stand up and call for electronic voting? Is that correct?
It's not
Right.
explicit, it's not explicit if you take out 7A. I'm
So-
just reading this, just to make sure what this puts, that's,
Currently, and I think this is where the question will
it
be.
might be in the handbook too.
Currently, the town moderator has the discretion, calls for a voice vote. If that voice vote is in question, 7 members can stand. That drives it to a standing call. If after that vote, a number of members stand up and say, we want a roll call vote, that happens. Not just the moderator is making a discretionary call to, so I want a voice vote, and all of a sudden, some people get up. If after the voice vote, there is a question, then the 7 members could rise, yes. That doesn't forego the voice vote. It is, you either go to standing vote or you go to electronic vote. That's a different process.
Should we have the clerk?
My understanding was, I thought that this meant if we have a voice vote and 7 people stand up, then we go to the default voting, which is electronic.
If you make that default, if you make that the
That's
next
what-
step in the process.
That's what the second option says. That's the default method.
Yeah, okay.
So my understanding is that if, I'm not a lawyer, but if we have this as the default way of voting,
Right.
and then we have 7 people that stand up, then we go back to the default. Because now the voice vote is an alternative way, it's not the main way. And the voice vote, and I like the language of keeping it a little broad because if we say we want voice vote only for opening the meeting or to adjourn, well, we don't know what else we might need the voice vote for later on, right? So we can't list every single scenarios where we will say, this is no big deal. So by having that discretion, that covers that. But we still have the main method, which is the electronic.
But that the moderator has the discretion to bump the electronic voting out on this, isn't that correct, on the alternative methods?
That's correct. So they're allowed to bump it out for some, I don't know what language they use here, like from general matters. Like I said, meeting adjourn, all in favor, yeah. And if you really strongly feel that we shouldn't adjourn, maybe.
Madam Chair, I just want to clarify, I was looking for that 7 standing. It is in our bylaws, Chapter 2, Section 5, in accordance with provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 39, Section 15. The moderator may, upon a voice vote, declare passage of any measure requiring 2/3 vote, and such declaration shall be binding unless immediately challenged by 7 or more town members, so town meeting members, so they can always challenge a voice vote. That would remain.
But his question was, if the voice was a challenge, what comes next? Is it the electronic voting or is it the standing voting?
And this doesn't direct that, but electronic voting being the default method, I would assume that would be the way it would go. But again, you can, these are options, and you guys can change them around how you see fit.
Well, it shows it's the default in option 2, the default method, which, good. And you do need an out for closing the meeting.
Exactly.
Or whatever, saying happy birthday to somebody, whatever. So you do need a note where everybody's not pressing a button.
Or if the button doesn't work.
Or if the button doesn't work, right? So, I mean, it seems that option 2 could work. Because the default method is the electronic voting.
Madam Chairman?
Yeah, I'm just reading it over and over
You
again,
know,
too,
this-
so.
We're voting to have electronic voting.
Mhm.
Why would that be an alternative? Wouldn't that be the main voting method? And then the voice eliminates the need for a voice vote entirely, except in the instance of adjournment or something. So if you're adopting clickers, I would think that's the preferred and only method, unless they're deemed dysfunctional.
But we're not voting on, we're voting on adding electronic voting. We're not voting on it becomes the, it becomes
Well, that's
the
what I'm trying to
default.
understand.
No,
Is-
this, if you look at the, so a couple of things that I've been holding off, but Madam Chairman, usually we look at this and then we'll consider amendments. If someone wants to make an amendment, consider the amendment, and if that one's shot down, then we consider the second one. If that one's shot down, consider the third, whatever it is. We're kind of just mashing everything together. And to Mr. Bennett's point, the language here says adding is not replacing all voting methods with electronic voting. It is adding electronic voting as an option. And that it is.
That's where I'm confused.
And it is, voting in town shall by, and here, it actually, here it tells us what we're voting on. Voting on first, voices of the members. Second, a counted vote by electronic tally. Third, members standing. Fourth, in writing, and I've never experienced writing. I'm not sure why that's there. Is that a new addition or has it always been there? I've never once seen writing, but if it's there for historic purposes, I don't care. And then fourth, roll call. This delineates exactly the order in which voting would be prescribed or expected. It also allows for moderator discretion. And the reason would be, I'm looking at this agenda tonight's agenda. If we start adding electronic voting to every single item as the default, we're adding 4 or 5 minutes per vote. Do we really need that for election of officers? That is a 30-second voice vote and done and over with. Then if not, we have to open up the system, vote, make sure all of the votes are recorded, close the system, have people, according to some of this language, validate that their vote was accurately tallied, and then a decision is made. I have some other
So
language
now
issues.
you make an argument that we shouldn't have it.
No. I'm saying I am not, and don't put words in my mouth. I am saying there are appropriate times for it, and there are appropriate times for the the moderator's discretion. So I'm trying to get this back to where we address the motion, talk about its merits. If you want to make a motion to amend, make a motion to amend, and let's discuss each one. We're kind of mishmashing everything and developing on the fly outside the norm of how we do this, and it's concerning to me. I have concerns about the language as presented that I would like clarity on, let alone when you start changing that language in amendments that we're seeing for the first time tonight. So it's still Mike's time to ask his questions and make his discussion points, and it'll get back to me, I'm sure.
So, I mean, I'd like to make the motion to accept option 2.
We haven't made a motion on the main motion.
Okay.
So you can't amend something that hasn't been addressed yet.
Want to hear from the petitioner? You know, we're still
Yes.
discussing.
No,
Let's-
this is a.
This is
Board,
ours. This is not,
yours.
Okay.
there are
It's our
people,
vote. That's right, I'm sorry, yeah.
if you'd like to, we can continue on a discussion about the motion, the article as presented, and then after a motion is made to whatever we're going to do to this article, you would like to make a motion for an amendment, that would be the appropriate thing. But you can't amend something we haven't addressed yet.
Madam Chair, I think Select Board Member Truss has a good point. So maybe that Article 34, like I was saying before, I will switch, discussing about that article, switch A and B. So the electronic voting, so Section 6 is listing the different methods of voting. And then Section 7 is talking about
Content. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I
exactly.
get that. And but you're also motioning to amend this. So can we talk about this as presented? And then if you want to make a motion to switch the order, great. If you want to make a motion, any of these three, all three, whatever it is, great. But we should address it in a manner that is consistent with the way we do motions on these things and amendments.
So raising, I won't say issues, but if I have a question about it as presented, what do I do?
You should have that. You should ask those questions. You could say, hey, I'm thinking about switching.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking about switching A and B, and then Section 6 will be listing all the methods of voting, and then Section 7A, the authorization will be that language, like making the electronic the default with the alternate. So 6 will only be listing the methods of voting, and then 7 will be how we actually conduct the votes. That would be my suggestion. That's what I'm thinking about.
Dan, what are you thinking?
No comments.
Okay.
So-
Gardner?
Well, Mike was in the middle of
Mike,
his.
go ahead, Mike, yeah.
You gave it to Mike first, and I want to finish hearing his
All right,
thoughts.
I'll wrap it up. I think the reason we're talking about electronic voting is because we're looking for a little piece of technology that will, I think, make it more comfortable for people to vote. I think it'll increase the number of people to get involved with town meeting. It may bring on younger people. And so that's why we're discussing electronic voting. And I think once it's implemented, it will streamline it. I don't know that it's going to hold up time. I think once everybody's used to it, after the initial setup, it'll go fine. And with that said, obviously, I'd like to put an amendment in when we're done with this discussion.
Gardner?
Yep. So addressing what's presented is Article 34. I'm okay with electronic voting as a concept. I've got no problem with that. If the intent is accuracy, I'm fine. However, and it's a big, huge however, there's a bunch of holes that I think need to be filled here. I think we should maintain that this is a solution in search of a problem. In the past 10 years of town meetings, we've taken over 771 votes. Not once has a roll call vote ever changed a standing vote or a voice vote, a standing vote, because that's the progression. Yes, there have been times when the voice vote has been close, people have called for a standing vote, and it may have gone back and forth. I get it. But never once has a roll call vote overshadowed or changed that vote. Madam Chair, I'd ask you to ask the public to stop commenting during these
I
deliberations.
didn't even hear, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Right.
And we're asking people to spend money. We're asking to use taxpayers' money here on a problem that doesn't exist. There is no problem with accuracy. There is no problem with the vote. I had asked for previously, and I'll ask through you to the town manager. Was there an assessment of how many more how many more town employees will have to participate in town meeting if electronic voting is engaged?
Madam Chair, through you. Yep, so we talked about this operationally, internally, with the clerk's office as well as the IT department, and I did just check in on details that I'm concerned. So no additional details. In fact, right now, it's covered by the patrol on the patrol that's on. We anticipate in the clerk's office needing, currently it's the clerk and the assistant clerk. We anticipate needing 4 additional people. And again, this is who knows in the long term, but certainly to get it started in that operationally, what we envision at this point. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you want to jump in, Madam Clerk. would be 2 staff kind of at each door to check people in and out with the clickers, because, again, with the representative town meeting, your clicker has to be identified with you, who you are. And then the quote that we received on the actual equipment includes their staff person, and that was essentially $7,000 a night. You see we put $30,000 in. We anticipate we're budgeting for, assuming the first time we ever use it, it may be a 2-night town meeting, into a special and an annual. Again, if that money doesn't get used, it just goes to pay for the following years. And on the IT staff, because they would bring a staff person, we would want 2 IT staff available to communicate kind of between the company and our public. So to respond to the person who says, mine's not working, or it's our internet, or something like that. So additional staff would be 4 additional members of the clerk's office, which there are only 2, so we would we would likely use, we may use poll workers or something, we would see temporary staff and 2 additional IT staff.
So that would be 6 additional people for, let's say the town meeting itself is 4 hours, but you're going to have the clerks there ahead of time. You're going to have to IT there the whole time. And then at the end to collect them all back and check them all off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 6 to 8 hours per person times 6 people.
Yeah.
And I do know that there is IT issues in that auditorium. It is a very closed space. The internet doesn't work. High school is notorious for having issues with the technology, internet type of technology. So so my concern is you're adding 6 people per town meeting, per night of town meeting. And by the way, a rough estimate, and maybe that's the clerk, I don't know who goes to, what is the rough estimate of the cost of having a day of town meeting? Meaning the staff now, the room, the whatever goes on to establish a town meeting.
Yeah, we talked about this as well. Currently, staff that is there, the majority of us are all salary employees, so there's no additional overtime or anything like that. It's just part of our day. We do not pay for the school space. We do not have, because we don't use a screen or we don't pay for an IT person, IT support currently. And because the police is the on patrol, right now there's no, like in the budget, there's no item that says this is how we're going to pay for a town meeting. So in general, most of it is absorbed operationally. And when I think, as I just said, we would have to bring in the extra. That electronic voting is essentially between $1,000 and $2,000. Because for those are for the hourly
But you
employees
do
that
give
wouldn't
comp
really-
time, yes. You may not pay them extra
Exactly, it's
money.
operationally absorbed. So if somebody's there who's from the clerk's office then they wouldn't come in on a Friday or something like
Right,
that.
so there is a cost.
Yeah, there's a
It's
cost.
just-
It's operationally. It's not
It's not, you don't write extra check out, but you do pay for them in the fact that they're not if they put in 8 hours on election night that they normally wouldn't,
Yeah.
they would expect and be granted 8 hours back
Correct.
for duties they would normally have
Yeah,
performed.
so it's operational, and exactly, and the other things won't be done because they'll be
Right, so there is a
spending time
cost.
here. There is a cost.
Okay,
It's just not that hard dollar number. Yeah.
okay. I think that we should estimate what that operational cost.
That is the 1,000 to 2,000.
Okay, so $2,000.
Yep.
Okay. As I read this, I'm in favor of Section 6 the way it is. Start with a voice vote. If that doesn't work, go to electronic. If that doesn't work, go to, and this is a question. If you go to electronic, standing and roll call are moot. There's absolutely no more clarity. It should either be, I think if you're going to change it, make it voice vote. If not voice vote, electronic. Because there should be no distinction between a roll call vote and an electronic vote unless someone changes their mind in that interim. So I think that when people start talking about changing it, voice vote first, then electronic voting, and then that's that.
If I may, Madam Chair, I just want to distinguish between a roll call vote. Because a roll call vote, they call the roll, right?
Right.
So electronic voting, as it's presented here, there's ways the system can be set. They could display, or the moderator could declare, again, I'm not going to do the math, 75 yays and another number noes.
Right.
A roll call, they call the roll.
Yes.
And so it would either have to be displayed by member or a voice would have to say. So a roll call is different.
It is
an
different,
electronic
except when you get to the next section, it's section B.
But in the meeting,
Section
the
7.
experience of a roll call in the meeting is different.
Okay. I will, so, and then we talk about section 7, authorization, at the discretion of the moderator, great. I will never vote for something to take away the discretion of the moderator to run the meeting that has been successfully run for all of these years. This is a reaction to people who thought their voice vote was not heard. I understand that. But it is moved from the intent for accuracy to the intent for identification. And I'm having a little bit of a problem with that. If you want accuracy, I got no problem. And you have methodologies right now today for accuracy, for exacting accuracy. Voice vote, you don't agree? 7 people stand up. 7 people stand up, we have a standing call, vote. If that is contested, we'll go to a roll call vote. The process has worked successfully. Never been reversed because of a roll call vote. So I'm fine with section A of this, the public record. Okay. I understand that we want a public record. I'm not going to fight that one. Visual confirmation, item C. This is saying that we will have to have a leaderboard or screens or something that represents 149 people and exactly how they voted, according to the way this is written, not an aggregate.
No, if I may, Madam Chair. It says must provide the individual voter with visual confirmation. That refers to your device. That says, so you're holding your device and your device will say you voted yes.
Okay.
It's providing confirmation to you as an individual.
All right, fine.
Just to clarify.
And then if we can clarify the language, because when I saw that, I thought, I watch C-SPAN, and I see every name up on a big tote board and how they voted.
And that's the language that it provides the individual voter with a visual confirmation.
Okay.
So it provides just
Okay.
to me as an individual.
System failures. Again, 80-20 rule, system failures, we'll address with system failures, I get that. I think that should be, if the system is failing, if people decide that it's not calculating their vote, whatever happens, yes, we revert back to old school. Got it, no problem. And then the integrity. This line about integrity, I appreciate this. I appreciate that giving someone a clicker doesn't ensure the integrity. It's just as easy for someone to hand off the clicker to someone else in the audience, and they can click away. So because right now, by voice vote, we know where the precincts start. And if someone in behind the precincts are shouting out votes, they're warned not to at the beginning, and if they are caught doing so, that's a condition. This actually removes that. I will have no problem voting on adding electronic voting to the mix as long as it comes after voice vote and the moderator has the opportunity, always has the authority to run the meeting as applied. Don't always cause electronic voting because it adds tremendous amount of time to this process. Right now, if you again, the average annual town meeting has over 50 votes because you've got 40 or so warrant articles on average, and I've got the spreadsheet here for the last 10 years. Plus, within that, when we drop to the budget, we do 10 or 12 budgets separately. 50 articles, 50 votes taken. If you add 5 minutes, 4 minutes, that's an added 3.5 hours to the, and we then switch over to 2 nights and then add the added cost of a second night of rental and a second night of increased personnel cost for a solution that is not a problem. No one has demonstrated this is a problem, and we have several town meetings. We have at least 2, annual and a special. Okay, so now we're talking about $40,000 maybe, and if we go to 2 nights each, we're adding another. Now we're 50,000, 60. I realize these are high numbers. That's a paraprofessional. That's a reading teacher That's a role in this community, to solve a problem that doesn't exist, to make people not gain accuracy, but gain insight into exactly how each person voted. They have that opportunity now. They can take advantage of it now. I will vote for it as long as it maintains voice vote first and the moderator's discretion. If you want to go first like that and then later decide that the moderator's discretion can be changed, let's do that. But again, we shouldn't embrace two dramatically different changes at once. Take it a step at a time. Add electronic voting, no problem. Then talk about the moderator's ability and discretion. And see, because again, you're solving a problem that doesn't exist. The moderator's abilities have never been in question. And everybody here will say, we're not questioning the moderator. We think she does a great job. Well, then don't take away her discretion as provided by law. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other, Mike?
Yeah,
You want to
could
say?
I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
To you, Madam Chair, I think some of the concerns that the select board member trusts have, I did have the same concerns. What I tried to do was to detach the person from the role. So, like, who is the moderator and the role itself. It's almost like the recall petition we talk about. I may be digressing here, but like, it wasn't because we were trying to talk about a specific person. It wasn't because we know someone is gonna embezzle money next year and then they will need to go to the recall petition. So when issues come up, the way I look at it was, where this was not on our radar, this came up, this was talked about, we look into it, we look at other towns, we saw what they do, and we're like, why not? So I don't necessarily see it as a solution looking for a problem. I see it more as an improvement. We live in the AI world. You know better than I do, being in the tech world. So if we can modernize our system, but by still keeping our traditions, I think it is not a bad thing. The first town meeting will be long, I'm sure. We will all have to learn how to use it, but over time, it will become the norm. Now we're having high school students, graduates who are trying to run for town meeting. Great. They will love things like this. So the amendment, and I don't know if we can talk about amendment now. I had similar language, but this is a little better written. That option 2 does not take the town moderator discretion away. It doesn't take it away completely. I think it streamlines the process. So if we do section 6 and just list the methods of voting, this is how we can do. We can do electronic, we can do voice, we can do standing, we can write on papers. Because, I mean, the voice vote has less integrity than the electronic vote. Because if we think of that section E, if I take my clicker and give to someone, well, it's just easier for the person in the back room to scream louder.
No. If someone screams in the back, they get called on it. If someone yells out, if someone is outside the precinct and votes, they get called on it.
But if you look at that E, by having that there, it might be redundant, but it clarifies the fact that you know not to do that. We can't
Sorry,
assume.
you're referencing E.
7E, the integrity.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So you're making clear to people you are not supposed to give your clicker to your neighbor to vote for you. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with making that specific. So I think the way I look at it is to really detach because we have a great moderator who does, I mean, I've never heard anything but amazing things.
Yep.
10 years from now, we'll know. So we can't necessarily, this is not about a person. This is about a role, a policy, and how we want to govern ourselves. That's how I'm looking at it. So by having that section 6 listing the different methods, and then on section 7, we do an amendment to this proposal by saying voting, and it says voting shall ordinarily, right? It's written really loyally. The moderator still holds the discretion. I don't think that's been taken away.
So just for process purposes, can I make a motion on what is presented, and then we talk about whatever amendments we want to talk about? Because that's the way we should do it. I am fine with exactly what is presented. My concern will be with some of the amendments. That's all.
Let's open up to the public. If anybody has a question, please go up and introduce yourself.
Nova Salmonate Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. From what it sounds like, I would be in favor of option B, to make electronic voting first. And I just want to point out that even if it's second, we're still going to need the same amount of staff, whether it's first or second, because we will have the availability of it to use it. So where it comes in the line is not going to affect how much we have to spend to have it. We're going to have to spend it either way, so we may as well use it as the primary source. Thank you.
Thank you. Lauren?
Lauren Steves, Precinct 3. I listened to everything that was just said, obviously, and I have a lot of thoughts. As you know, I spent the better part of a year talking about this on and off, doing tons and tons and hours and hours and hours of research. And Dee kind of hit the nail on the head. This is how we want to govern ourselves, because town meeting has the authority as the legislative body to amend our bylaws and decide how we want to vote on things. I understand the moderator has a discretion to run the meeting how she sees fit and run it that way, but it's actually not her job. If we want to pass a bylaw that says we want electronic voting as primary, if that's passed, it's not her authority to be able to say, you must vote by voice. If we decide to pass a bylaw that we want electronic voting as the primary default sole method of voting. I just want that to be very clear. I don't know how many people on this board have actually sat and watched any towns who use electronic voting. This idea that it's going to take that much extra time to press a button and votes to register, that it's going to take an extra 3 to 5 minutes, it's false. I'll send you YouTube videos. I'd be happy to. I have spoken to a lot of town meeting members. Like I said, I sent out a poll, whether you agreed with how the poll went out, how it was worded. That's kind of neither here nor there, but I received 80-something responses. A lot of town meeting members feel very strongly that they want electronic voting as the primary method. And we're the ones voting. So I think that that's important. And the notion that the public only wants electronic voting is just a reaction to a voice not being heard. That's an opinion, and that's not how everyone feels. The fact is that we want it for accuracy, we want it for transparency, we want it so that the people who vote for us know how we're voting on things, which they don't currently have the ability to do right now. And our votes touch everything in this town. They touch our budget. They touch our zoning. They touch every decision that we make. We touch it. So everyone should know how things are being voted on. This isn't because we don't like the moderator. This isn't because we're upset or we're emotional. This is because we want transparency and we want accuracy, and everybody should want that. And again, the opinion that there isn't a problem. Maybe there's not an outward problem. Nobody has a problem with the moderator. This isn't about the moderator. This is going back to, like I just said, transparency, accountability, and accuracy, and making sure that the votes are counted, especially on 2/3 votes. Those are extremely important. And to be off by a couple of voice votes and we don't really know, that's a problem. But the idea that this is just an emotional response to something, I take a huge issue with, especially after all the time that I put into this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead, Bill.
Bill Bradstreet, town meeting member, precinct 1. I listened to the arguments from both sides. I've been a town meeting member probably too long. But when there's been called for a voice vote, it's very noticeable to me that some people seem to raise their voices as high as they can go. So I don't think that I'm really happy with that. It does happen, whether I like it or not. Obviously, an option, if it doesn't work, the electronic voting. I don't, one or the other. I just want us to be heard so that we're heard, whether it's with a clicker, standing vote, roll call vote. One of the things I take exception to is the voice vote, because I've heard it happen many times over the years. I don't know what you're going to do. I'll leave that up to you. That's your job.
Thank you. Anybody else? Board members, any more questions?
I want to make sure that people understand. When I say this is a solution in search without a problem, I'm not talking about the town moderator and her abilities. I'm talking about the process. The process works. The process, as we've been doing since this became a town meeting body, works. If the voice is in question, 7 people can get up and ask for a standing vote. If the standing vote's in question, people can get up and ask for a roll call vote. The process works. And yes, if you're standing next to, I'll pick on Bill Bates because I know he'll take it well. If you're standing next to Bill Bates, you hear Bill Bates. The town moderator standing on that stage hears it differently than the fact that you're standing next to Bill Bates or Bill Nicholson or even me. I get it. There are loud voices, there are soft voices. But if there was ever something in question, you always have those options. I don't mind adding this as an option after the voice vote. Let that process continue. Add this as the next step in the process. It takes the place of standing vote. I've got no problem with that. It takes the place of standing vote. And then still you can call for a roll call vote because the state the state law says you have to have opportunity. Capture the votes that are taken. I get that. Gardner will be issued click number 73. And when 73 clicks in, Kathy eventually will know it from the system reports that she gets from that system. I get it. But this is going to cost the taxpayers money. $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Maybe not hard dollars because we comped time, but it's still time and dollars. And if this is not a problem, why are we paying $50,000 or more for a solution annually? It's not a one-time cost. So if you could demonstrate once in the past 20 years that this has been a problem, I would have a different point of view. So.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes.
Enough interest has been put forward on this thing that not necessarily that it's a problem, but it might be a comforting factor for people to come to town meeting and be a part of it. If you'd never been to town meeting, you walked in while they're voting and they all jump up and scream, you think you walk into a crazy town. So I think it would be calming and easy to take for people to vote, and you might be sitting next to somebody and you don't really want them to know what you're voting at that time. I mean, apparently the electronic vote is basically a roll call vote, so they're going to know tomorrow, but you get 24 hours to get away with it. I just think it'll be, I think it's going to make it more interesting, more fun, maybe a little less intimidating for some people with the yelling and whatnot. As far as a cost, there is a cost. There's a cost to everything. If we're spending millions on IT, we could probably swing this. So it's my thoughts. Do we need to vote on this?
I had a question.
Yeah.
If option 2, right? If option 2, but it says can you switch around the alternative methods? Can you put, where it says, the moderator may, in the exercise of their judgment, this is the alternative method, voting by a voice vote, can it be standing vote? Can you switch those A, B, C's, D's around?
Well, currently, as written.
Right.
Currently as written, the order is voice vote, then electronic vote, then standing
No, no, no,
vote.
but-
So
right.
if what you're asking is to switch, six is just reversing that.
Yeah, reverse.
6 is making electronic first, then voice, then the remainder.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what 6 is doing. So if you're
Right.
asking, can we switch it back, you're switching it, reverting back to the actual original language.
No, but like Dee said, do the electronic one and switch, but can you does it have to be voice? Can it be, say, electronic, stand vote? Can we switch?
Well, electronic negates the need for a voice. You would never take an electronic and say, I want to call for a voice vote. And in taking the electronic, you are in effect taking you're actually taking a roll call vote. But electronic negates the need. If you make that the primary alternative, you negate voice votes and you negate standing votes. And you may decide, but I think the state legislature has decided for us, that you have to maintain roll call votes.
Yeah, the way.
So there's it's either voice, electronic, standing, whatever, and I think standing is now moot if you have electronic in the mix. Or it's electronic and then the fallback is roll call.
I think I do. I think we're just adding electronic into the mix, like you said, on section 6. Everything else stays. We can't take away everything else because electronic may not work. And we will need to have all those other things in our toolbox. So the method of voting in section 6 will just be listing all these things. And then section 7, we will just use the language of default voting and alternative voting. That gives the town moderator the discretion to call for a voice vote if we're going to adjourn, or if we want to appoint someone to the River Committee.
But it doesn't. It doesn't. If you make the default electronic,
Yes.
that takes the discretion away from the moderator.
No, it doesn't, because it says the moderator may. If you look at option, now I'm looking at the amendment, not the.
Yeah, I'm looking at the amendment too.
Amendments, section 6, option 2. Because we don't want to take that away, because we want to.
But, and I agree with you. I'm agreeing with that sentiment. You don't want to take the moderator's discretion away. But as soon as you call something the default, an alternative is if you don't do the default.
No, but if you look at the language of the default, and I'm not a lawyer, it says voting should ordinarily be conducted.
Yep.
It doesn't say, it says like, in general, that's what we want to do. But that alternative still gives her that discretion to be able to call for a voice vote for things to move along. And then if that doesn't satisfy the town meeting, they can do a standing vote. The 7 people can get up and ask.
I would be happy to accept that amendment if the discussion about the moderator's discretion was moved into the default method. Voting shall be blah, 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 blah. However, at the discretion of the moderator, a voice vote could be taken. I would be fine with that. The way this is structured, the discretion isn't until the default is gone by and been enacted.
So, Madam Chair, if I can just answer your question. Sorry, just because we went kind of sideways again. To answer your question, the order, you can change the order, but the order doesn't establish the order of which she has to choose.
Exactly.
It just gives her all those options. So there's no, you don't
Oh, I
achieve
see.
anything. You know what I mean? She can use, they're A, B, C, and D. You can use any of the colored pens you want. You don't have to choose them. in a
She
certain
could go right to a roll call right out of the gate.
Exactly. She doesn't have to switch them around.
So as long, if that's the case, if we describe this as, these are the methods by which we will accept a vote, we will do these things. And if you don't agree with something, you can always ask for a standing. If you don't agree with a standing, you ask for a roll call. Great. But don't categorize this in a linear fashion. This is written in a linear fashion. A happens, if not A, then B, if not B, then C.
No.
The way it's written,
No.
default, when you say default and alternative,
I disagree. The way this is written, that those are all alternatives. They don't have to go. It says or. It's not this, then that, then this, then that. You can use any of those. It's or. And Madam Chair, I'm just going to bring you back to Member Trask's point earlier. If you haven't moved the question yet of the article as presented, so you might want to move that. I think you're done with the public. There's not
yeah,
many
so
of
it's
us
just for the sake
left.
of continuing the discussion, which I really like. I'm
And
just
then-
going
and then get to the amendment,
Right,
but-
so I'm going to motion that we move the language of Article 34 presented as a favorable recommendation. And then we can go forward now and add amendments and such. So,
You need a second.
And I'll second
but I need a
that.
second for the course of discussion.
Okay.
Now, if someone wants to offer an amendment, fantastic, then we can beat that up.
Mike, do you offer the
I
amendment?
would like to,
Yes.
yeah. So,
Okay, sorry, I want to make sure you're awake.
Yeah. Was it obvious?
No, no.
So the option 2 that's been given to us here seems to give the moderator some leeway in, although we will have a default method of electronic voting. However, there's some leeway there, such as Dee brought up, as to some of the simple things, closing the meeting, et cetera, whatever. She may say, hey, let's do these first 10 things because they're just mechanical, whatever. And I don't mean to say she, it could be anybody, it's the position of the moderator, the person. So this one here, I think, gives a little room there for whatever that meeting holds. However, initially, our default will be electronic. And I think the electronic itself, it's not a big deal. It's small piece of, technology, streamline things, make it more fun. I think it'll be a good thing.
So you're
So I'm
offering
offering that as an amendment to,
amendment, option 2?
Section 6 voting, which would be option 2. The revised language preserving moderator flexibility.
And Madam Chair, do you want me to read it just so
Yes,
people at home
please. Yep, sorry, they can
can understand what we're talking about? So the amendment made by Member Means suggests amending Section 6 to read, Section 6, voting. 1, default method. Voting shall ordinarily be conducted by a counted vote using an electronic tally and system called the electronic system, which may be used A, by itself to reflect the vote, or B, in conjunction with a voice vote. Subsection 2, alternative methods. The moderator may, in the exercise of their judgment, use or permit voting by A, a voice vote, B, a counted vote by members standing, C, a written ballot, or D, a roll call poll, whenever the moderator determines that such method will better ensure the efficient, orderly, or accurate conduct of the meeting, or where the electronic system is unavailable, impractical, or not functioning reliably.
Questions?
Okay, so discussion on this, the exact language here is what causes concern. Unless we say it better ensure efficient. If efficient and orderly is sufficient for her, this is an A or B, 1 or 2. 1 happens and then 2 happens, and that's a discretion. And if we could rewrite that to not make it that way, I don't mind it being, it is her first consideration, it is I'm trying to take her out, I'm sorry. It is the moderator's first intent to electronically vote, fine. However, do we need to waste our time on the election of officers, of the fence sitter for a vote? Again, I'm sorry,
If you're the fence sitter, it matters.
Yeah, true. But do you care whether there's a voice
It's not
vote?
fence sitter. By the way, nobody's.
No? A weigher of bark, or the fish wise, or whatever, fish ales.
I do think that the intent of this, and I don't I don't read it as linear. The intent of this is to do what you all are saying, that if it is for the efficient operation of the meeting, general, I think that Lauren might have used a term about like general something, but it does not go in an order. Those are all options. You don't have to go from A to, you can go past A and go straight to D if you want.
That's how
I read it.
that's how I
That
read
was
it
the
too.
intent of the presentation.
If the intent is that, I'm fine. I think that the line, can we,
I mean, the lawyers wrote it, so with that intent.
That's how I read it. But then I'm still confused with the 7A. So my thought was that the amendment, can I amend an amendment?
You can.
Is that procedurally appropriate?
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, do whatever you want, Dave.
So is to have section 6 as just listing all the methods of voting, including electronic voting.
Electronic first.
Yes, so electronic and then.
So that would be very different than this amendment. So if it's
No,
an
and
amended
that-
amendment, you kind of have to stay within the scope.
Because section 7A will then be what we are calling option 2.
yeah, I see what Dee's saying.
That's how I'm reading it.
Dee, the way I'm hearing exactly what you're saying right now, this amendment is discussing the process,
Exactly.
which is actually section 7 of what we've been presented.
Yes.
So if
7A.
6 voting is, because you've commingled the two.
Yeah, I see which way you're going. The only thing I would suggest is if the goal is to make it the default method, you need to keep that default method language in 6. Not
And-
just list them in order, because again, listing them in order just gives you an option. It doesn't say which way you have to go.
And I would have no problem with, hearing the conversation, I would have no problem with an amendment to 6 that says, change the order. Just change it to electronic first, and then the remaining ones. And then in section 7, my concern is covered at the discretion of the moderator.
Yeah.
I'm fine. And that's really what
Or by a
what
majority
6.2
vote.
says.
Yeah.
6.2 says exactly what 7A says.
Right, but we're not going to have to go through this every town meeting, are we? I mean, it should be.
No. Once,
You know?
no, what I'm hearing you say, what I'm hearing the conversation go, is that if we were to take what is presented and change the voting at town meeting shall be by, and if you want, right up front, say electronic voting,
Yeah.
then voice voting,
Yeah.
then, and we're saying it's not linear. I'm fine with that. If we want that listed first, I'm fine with that. As long as we maintain section 7A,
Section 7A will become the option 6.2.
well, the options are the options.
Yeah.
The methodology of applying the options is what's in 7. And it says right here, at the discretion of the moderator, the order is selected.
Yeah.
And I've got no problem with that.
So then we would go with option 1, which would just be,
No. What?
Well, I think he's right. I think,
Do you want me to?
yeah, except there's extraneous language, there's repeated language. The town meeting shall be by electronic voting system for all votes, unless determined by the town meeting, which is actually covered under 7A. And then, at which point the voices of the member, committed, blah, blah, yeah. You are achieving the same thing. You are listing the methods, and you're putting electronic first because you feel that's important. Okay? But you're maintaining the ability of the town moderator, their discretion. So the intent is electronic first.
yes.
The intent is we will vote by electronic voting unless the town moderator, he or she, says,
Does
this is
that-
a simple one.
Does that force her to do it first?
No, it says that is our
One
default.
of an option, a default.
And he or she has the option to change that if they think for efficiency reasons. There's never been a contested weigher of coal, you know? Let's just go to a voice vote, get it over in 30 seconds.
Madam Chair, if I may try to verbalize what Dee is saying, because what I think the group is saying, and I will recommend if we're mashing it up like this, we may have to rewrite it and bring it back for a final vote on Thursday. Hopefully a shorter one. But I think to still, because I'm worried that just listing them does not establish it as the primary. Putting it as A does not get it as the default. So I would recommend, if, I think what D is proposing, and I think Member Trask and Member Bean are in agreement with, it would read, voting in the meeting shall be, Section 6A, big A, would read, voting shall ordinarily be conducted by a counted vote using electronic tally and electronic system, which may be used A, by itself to reflect a vote, or B, in conjunction with a voice vote. So you're establishing it as the default method. And then you list the other ones as presented. And then 7A, you would strike the proposed 7A that's in your draft warrant, and you would submit alternate, and so 7A would read alternative methods. The moderator may, in the exercise of their judgment, use or permit voting by a voice vote, B, a counted vote, by members standing, C, written ballot, D, a roll call whenever the moderator determines that such method will better ensure the efficient, orderly, or accurate conduct of the meeting, or where the electronic system is unavailable, impractical, or not functioning reliably. I think that's what.
Yes. That's, but as you were reading it, what if we replace the section 6 exactly with that second option, and then on 7 we just cross out A?
That's actually what option 2 recommends.
Yes.
Option 2 recommends putting in exactly what's printed in section 6, which I can read again if you guys want to. I'm stumbling over less words now.
So we put that on section 6?
And deleting section 7A in the proposal.
Yes.
So that's what Mike originally moved.
Oh, okay.
So if you look at section 6, but what this does is it commingles two things, and that's what I'm trying to get the distinction. Section 6 should say voting methodology, and you list the methodologies. Section 7 should say electronic voting process or procedure, whatever you want to call it. But but what option 2 here does is it commingles. It talks about method and process.
Well, no, because the subsection 2 is the other methods.
We got to give her some leeway.
Dan, do you have
Yeah,
anything
but
to
I
say?
think okay.
Let's hear from Mr.
I mean,
Bennett.
so the amendment on the floor is
Listen, if
option
I
2
may,
in this.
Yeah, let's hear from Mr. Bennett.
This conversation is
Yeah.
very important
It is.
to have. At the end of the day, Lauren hit the nail right on the head. Town meeting members have the right to determine how we govern ourselves. And whichever way order you put it in, it's not going to affect their vote.
No, it affects what
We
what
put
the
forward.
expectation of
Right.
process is.
But at the end of the day, town meeting will decide if we're going to clickers or not. That's really the question. No matter how you spin this, that's the question. They'll answer that.
See, I would ask for clarity because I think we've, including me, have come to the point of realization that this isn't about should we have clickers.
It is.
No. I think we're all embracing the fact that we'll have clickers.
Well, again,
What
we
is
use
the
that
process
word
for utilizing clickers? It's now moved. It's transitioned. Although I still have concerns about costs.
Well, that's the next article.
Right. I still have concerns about, right. But I have concerns about costs. But what I'm saying is I think at least I have shifted from should we have clickers or not to, okay, we'll have clickers. What is the best methodology for implementing clickers? And we're writing how that methodology should be, what the expectation of the methodology should be. Because at any town meeting can make a vote to change
I know
that.
what we're doing. I just made my statement.
Well, and I'm providing a question or clarity to what you're saying because I think that there's a difference there. But anyhow.
So do we need to vote on option 2?
Are we moving it to Thursday
You
night?
need a motion.
Oh,
on
we're going to move it to
second.
Thursday night?
You need a second. That's where you're at process.
Yeah.
But
Okay. So
So there's a motion to accept it, then there was an amendment to change it, and you said to the way option 2 is written.
option 2, yes.
If we vote on this, and I'm asking a clerical question now, I would like to give the town manager the opportunity to take the comments we have, which I think we're basically agreeing on. It's just how the wording is presented, and have her come back to us with something that embraces your amendment, embraces the original language and your amendment, because, and makes it clean language, not just lift and drop.
So what's in front of you now is lift and drop. What's in front of you now is the amendment to take section 2, option 2, and put it in.
Right.
That is very different than going, I don't have, beyond what I just brought to you, another consensus, right? So you would need to vote on the amendment in front of you. And just to clarify, there would have to be a second amendment then to do the 7A piece, as Dee suggested. So what you need to do is vote as a group on option 2, and then see where the discussion goes from there. But what Gardner's suggesting is a third option, which is not technically right in front of you right now. What I had said, for clarity's sake, was I would be willing to bring it back for a final vote for you guys to see it as a whole. But I haven't heard the board say, go rework it, which is
I
what
think we should rework it for Thursday.
I think option 2 there covers the method of voting and the process. So if we replace section 6 with section 6 amended, that covers not only what we use to vote, but how we're going to use it. And the only change on section 7 will be to remove the A,
Get rid of A.
because that would not, or we could put this, we could put option 2 again there, but that's redundant.
If you want to lift and drop section 6 as presented into here,
Yes.
I'm fine.
Yes.
As long as we retain 7 as is. Yes, maybe 7A is redundant, but the redundancy is important.
But what would 7A achieve though? Because that 7A is already section option 2.2. That's the same thing as 7A.
Yeah, it's just redundant.
Yeah.
We could leave it.
So option.
So maybe halfway, and leave it as redundant, because it clearly delineates the process.
Yeah, but that process is already in section 6.
But you're not expressing all of the process. You're only expressing one component of the process.
No, it's all of it.
No. You've got the B, C, Ds, and Es.
Yeah. So that's, if you look at the alternative, it's got voice vote, counted by members standing, written ballot, roll call poll, whenever the moderator thinks is appropriate. So that 7A is already included in section 6.2.
Madam Chair, if I could encourage you again, just process-wise, so we know and people can follow. You have an amendment, which is just substituting current section 6 with section 6 as presented in option 2. So I would encourage you to take a vote if discussion's done on 6, and then have the discussion on whether or not you remove 7A, because you would need another amendment to do that. So right now, the amendment before you, and Madam Clerk, I don't know if there was a second. I'll leave that.
It was not.
Okay.
I'll second the amendment.
Okay. So the amendment before you is strictly about section 6, taking what's on the paper in front of you, which I've read to the public, and replacing what was presented in the draft warrant. So I would encourage you to vote on that and then have the discussion on 7, because you would need a separate amendment to do that. Unless, of course, there's further discussion. But just
Okay.
So, Mike, are you amending to?
Yeah, I'd like to,
Are you amending to option 2?
I am amending to option 2, yes.
And then Gardner seconded.
And I'm seconding.
So now,
We say all in favor?
correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, okay.
Okay.
So now we're going to do an amendment D on your section 7, right, Jill? That's
it's up to Dee if he wants to
If you
offer an
wanted to do
amendment.
that.
An amendment. That was where the discussion was going, so I just wanted to.
I mean, I think it's redundant. I think it's already addressed in section 6. So if you want to keep it, that's fine with me. I just think, I mean, it's the same thing that we have on 6.2, pretty much.
So you're not making an amendment?
No.
Okay, then the main motion becomes the amended motion, which in this case would be the language as presented, replacing section 6 with the amended section 6.
Yes.
Option 2.
Option 2.
Two, yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
So then you can take a vote on the,
Yeah, so do we have that motion you made?
it had already
You
been
already
made.
did, okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Okay,
right.
good work.
We need to take a 10-minute break.
That was good
All
work.
right?
Can we take a 5-minute
Yeah,
break?
5 minutes, yeah, we were moving along good at the beginning.
No, we knew, that was really good work.
Podium. Fun. Okay. We all set? All right, we're back on. Thank you. Ms. Town Manager, will you?
All right.
Number
Where are we?
35?
Let's see.
35, right?
Oh, yeah, the next part of, still on electronic voting.
Not again.
Thank you, Madam Chair, to bring us back, and thank you all for your work on that. It was really important, and for the public for their input on it as well. Article 35 is the funding, as we discussed. It was brought to our attention by Ms. Steves. The board had asked for a funding article related to electronic voting. I did receive quote. It turns out most of the towns in Massachusetts use the same company. The ones that we're using as a different company, that company is folded, and so now they're all essentially using one. I did receive a quote. It's essentially $7,000 per meeting. That includes the devices for, I told them 150. 150 devices, the software for the night that they would install onto the clerk and whatever other computers, and staff for that. So how we figured it, as I mentioned earlier, to be safe in this article, we assume that the first time we ever use it, it may make 2 nights of town meeting, so 2 or 3 nights, and or a special an annual town meeting that's 2 nights, and a special that's 2 nights, because again, it's new. If this funding, if we are great at this and it's 1 night, it's warrant funding, so it would just go towards the cost for the following annual town meeting or special.
Okay. Questions, board members? Gardner?
Just for clarity, this reflects real and operational costs. Those 6 people.
This is not. Because that's not funded in a warrant article.
Okay.
This is just the cost of the system and the staff, their staff, the company's support staff to be there. The system, the actual devices, the software, and the support staff provided by the company.
And while we're asking for $30,000 in hard costs that is above and beyond what we have now, those intangible costs are true. Those operational costs are true, and I'd like to see them expressed as it doesn't have to be we're appropriating $30,000 in new spending, but then the language should also reflect later that the true cost of taking this on includes those 6 people and whatever, the culmination, the opportunity there. Whatever their salary is, 6 people, 8 hours per night is a cost, because that's opportunity lost on the other end.
Yeah, I can express you one, and I can let Rodney express why you wouldn't put it in the article. It doesn't belong in this article, because this is taking money from free cash, which we would not use for someone's salaries. So I don't think the language belongs here. Again, I think the cost, as we talked about it, would be between $1,000 and $2,000 per meeting. To quantify, again, I can't quantify beyond that, other than to say if they work a normal 8-hour day and they're at town meeting for 8 hours, that will be their 8-hour day that day. If they're at town meeting for 12 hours, they will get 4 hours in comp time in another area. But we do this, right? So, but the 1,000 to 2,000 would cover hourly employees that we would not normally have. So that's the hard number I can give you. But I would ask that it's not put in the warrant article related to free cash.
When we do warrant articles, I realize this is the warrant language. We do description. We do narratives. Not by the time it gets past FinCom, because then when we get the final warrant book, it's just on whatever the language of the warrant is. But I do have a strong concern that we are, again, solving a problem that doesn't exist, and it's going to cost us $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 annually. And people should be aware of that, not just the rental cost.
If I may, to you, Madam Chair, that cost of the extra staff, as it is now, we have a cost into running the town meeting, like now, currently.
Correct.
And that cost is not reflected anywhere
No,
here.
I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for
So-
the additional cost.
That's correct, but even as of now, we don't know how much it will cost us to run a town meeting. Some nights, we go until 11, sometimes we can stop at 10, sometimes we can, so depending on how lengthy the town meeting is, there could be different costs associated to them currently.
Well, we've
So-
heard the town manager say there will be 6 more employees who do not work the town meeting as a normal, who are required.
I understand. What I was just saying was that we couldn't add it here or try to capture it because that will go in as a cost of us running business, even other than town meeting, voting. There's sometimes we get more poll voters than others. Some people work more than others. So those kind of costs are just part of running the institution, which could not be captured in a warrant article.
Again, I'm
Madam
not
Chairman,
asking,
may I interject?
Sure.
We have a warrant article in front of us asking to appropriate $30,000 in free cash to purchase or rent hardware, software. That's the only conversation that this is asking us to make a decision on.
that's the decision, correct. We're only voting on $30,000. I get that. But I want clarity for the town meeting members to know the actual cost of this. And the cost operationally includes 6 new employees that aren't normally at town meeting who have to get paid for that
But we already
time.
heard that.
No, we know that.
We heard it.
We heard it. I want town meeting to hear it. I want them to
Oh,
understand.
Bill is here. A couple of them.
I want the cost of this program to be understood. And the cost includes those operational costs. You can say, yes, they're salaried employees, but then the 8 hours that they spend on town meeting night is 8 hours away from other duties they would have normally had. They're paid for that time. So I want the cost of initiating this somehow expressed.
Express that to the manager.
Okay, yeah. Mike?
This is what we have in front of us.
Yeah. Mike, you got any questions?
Just one question. Do you know in research on the cost of this, if they offer like a 5-year program where it may cost less money? I don't know if there was
They
anything
did not
like
make
that.
an offer of
Nothing
that,
like
but this is based on an initial quote, and if passed, we'll do a deeper dive and see, if we can get a better deal and blah, blah, blah. But this is as far as they'd really take you until, once I told them we didn't have a date,
Yeah.
this is as far as I could get them.
Okay,
They're looking to rent the equipment now, so.
okay, thank you.
Dee?
Just to clarify, and is this the cost, the 7,000 is the cost to rent,
Rent.
not to purchase?
Not to
Is that
purchase. So,
correct?
and I should talk a little bit about that. I'm happy to. We talked about this, like I said, we met operationally on this and what it would mean. It is my recommendation, supported by the IT director's recommendation, that renting is the best way to go. This is a software and a hardware that you'd be using once, maybe twice a year. They're not going to be experts on it. So to own the system every year, then you really start talking about what cost it is to take it out, the system out, test the system, blah, blah, blah. So renting is certainly the preferred method.
Okay, so the way the warrant is written, we say purchase and or rent, that gives you that ability to do
If it-
either based on what's more cost
Okay.
effective. Okay, thank you.
If the technology at some point, technology changes so quickly also, that I expect it would change quickly, but if this would, if we keep funding it this way, it would give us some flexibility.
Okay, thank you.
Dan, you have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
Should we expect a yearly appropriation for rentals of the equipment?
I mean, I would think it would go into our operating budget
Well,
eventually.
that was my
but-
next question. Can we put it in the clerk's budget or something?
Yeah, I think it would go into our operating.
Okay.
Your
I
budget.
mean,
It's
if
our
it's
budget.
7,000 or something like that.
Wait a minute. What?
Yeah, so 7,000, so we give the clerk budget around 3,000 or 4,000, and
Thanks, Kathy.
Take back,
You're welcome.
take back a
But my
week's
point is,
vacation.
we
That's
won't
for
see
getting an
this on the
assistant.
warrant every year.
No, if
I
this
hope.
was to go forward, it would just become an operating expense, so it would be folded into the
Thank
clerk's
you.
budget. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
All right, so do I have a motion?
Motion to accept
Okay.
Article 35 as
Do I have a
given to us.
Yeah, second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
All right.
Good, you got any risks?
Okay. Article 36, the downtown improvement plan. This is essentially, we talked about this during budget. So these are payments that have come in, get posted to free cash, and then we move them to the downtown improvement fund. And it is in the amount of $408,675,000. And if you have questions on specifics, we break them down here. But if you have further questions, Aaron's here to help.
Gardner?
Shouldn't some of that 40R money have gone to the Affordable Housing Trust for affordable? I thought that that was part of the 40R, is we have a trust to promote not downtown improvement, but affordability improvement.
The statute does not require that. And the 40R has a different inclusionary housing requirement than the standard inclusionary housing bylaw that we have in town. So in a 40R district, you must do 20% of the units must be affordable, whereas normally in town, it's either 10% or 12.5%, depending on how many new units you're creating. But in the 40R district, you must do, per the state rules, 20%. So there's an extra incentive built into the law, but the money received from 40R development is not directed to affordable housing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mike?
The affordability, their definition is based just on income? Or is there a chart?
Kind of a loaded question.
Yeah, is there a
Not
big,
related
long
to this
chart
article.
with?
Yeah, not related to this article, but basically affordability at the state level is defined by three things. One of them is income eligibility of the household that you're trying to house. There's some other criteria that go with that.
But it doesn't affect this article at all.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Dee?
No questions, thank you.
Dan?
Thank you. What is the mitigation, transportation mitigation payments?
So downtown, we, several years ago, introduced a fee that essentially, rather than go back and forth with developers about transportation improvements, we created a mitigation fee. That way, they just give us a payment in lieu of, that money comes
So it's
to us, and
different
now
from
we
the,
can use it.
Transportation fund.
Yeah.
involved. Thank you. What's the vision and goal with this study?
We'd like to, the last time we did a parking and circulation study downtown was 2014. We've done a couple of developments since then. We'd like to refresh that study. And we're also looking at how we can defray some of the costs associated with the downtown streetscape project. So a lot of those are getting plowed into that.
And you will see, the board will receive an update on the downtown improvement projects, either the second meeting in May or the first meeting in June.
Wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
The last time we did the traffic mitigation, there was recommendations for signage and other aspects of it. Will this cover any of the recommendations, like signage? Or,
Yes. So we can talk about it. It's, again, foreshadowing what the presentation that'll come to you, but a combination of these funds, plus we received earmark funding, both, I believe, in the Fair Share Act last year and in the budget last year, that speak to those recommendations, and that'll all come to you.
okay, so it's not $400,000 for a study.
No. Nope.
Okay.
Sorry.
That was
Good study,
study.
but
Do I have a motion?
Good question.
I move we accept
Yeah,
this
we did.
favorably.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Article 37, Transportation Network. This is the, known as the Uber and Lyft funding, and this moves it into the Transportation Network Fund, which is in the Senior moves it into the Senior and Social Services Transportation Revolving Fund.
Questions? Mike?
No questions.
Gardner?
Nope.
Dee?
No.
All set.
Dan? Okay, do I have a motion?
Move we forward this favorably.
All in favor? Oh,
Aye.
second, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
And as a side note, and coming from a community that did not have many Ubers, no Ubers, really starting from it, this is an incredible asset to fund senior transportation. So well done, Danvers. Article 38, this is the acceptance of of something that was included in the BRAVE Act that related to tax exemption for the families related to veterans. And if there's further questions, we have our assessor here to answer questions.
Dan?
None.
Dee?
No.
Mike?
Just that it's a great situation here. It's awesome.
It's good.
No questions.
Gardner?
No questions.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Move we accept favorably.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None. Okay, perfect.
Article 39, in a similar fashion, it clarifies one of the exemptions related to the BRAVE Act, and it clarifies the local option, and I believe it has to do, again, with the, or if it's in a trust, that they can still receive a benefit.
Questions, Gardner?
No questions.
No questions.
Mike? No. Dee?
All set.
Dee, okay. Motion?
I move we forward this favorably.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thanks for coming, John.
I know.
Man, a few words.
Thank you, John. Sorry. Make me wait.
Throw him a question. No, I'm kidding. Article 40, this is readopting the OPEB trust, and this is Rodney's.
So a couple of board members will remember that we accepted this statute back in 2016. We actually accepted it ahead of municipal modernization, which made some changes, clarified that a trust document should be produced. So basically, this is housekeeping. The recommendation would be to re-accept the statute, and then as a follow-up, the treasurer will draft a trust document that'll be executed. Again, it's more just formalizing what we already do in practice. It's recommended by our actuary who handles our OPEB studies, and it's also recommended by our audit firm. Happy to answer any questions.
Gardner?
No questions.
Mike?
No, I always trust what Rodney tells us.
Whoa.
I hope it's the truth.
Dee?
And Rodney, we trust.
Dan's another one. Okay, do I have a motion?
Good to know. I'll keep you
I move this favorably.
Because he was the acting town manager. Joe, he was
Say
the
that,
acting
I'm going to
town
say that in
manager.
court, too.
I make the motion to move this forward favorably.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'll build that trust. That's my intention, is to build that same trust with this board. Article 41, lease purchase financing agreement. Anytime that we lease to purchase, we have to bring it to town meeting, similar to approving debt. Questions to Rodney?
Yeah, questions, Mike?
No questions.
Gardner?
No questions.
Dee?
So is this different from what they do in the middle school? So this is high school only?
Yeah, so, and again, if there are questions on specifically what the purchase is, schools will be here on Thursday to answer them. But essentially, yes, they talked about phasing out their middle school one-to-one, but they're re-upping the high school one-to-one on the laptops or Chromebooks.
Okay, I'll keep my questions for Thursday then.
Dan?
So this is typical language we've had before?
Yeah, we've done 3 or 4 of these. I think
That's
it's actually always been the school Chromebooks.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All set. Do I have a motion?
Move we forward this favorably.
Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent.
Article number 42, revolving fund accounts. Each year, we're required by Mass General Law to the Select Board and the Town Meeting, FinCom, and so on, to approve amount to be that's allowed to be expended from revolving funds. Set amounts, I think, are pretty similar to previous years, and we have our Senior and Social Services Director here, if there's any questions about the senior-related ones, and we have our Director of Natural Resources here, if there's anything related to, I believe, the recreation one, Waterways Dredging Improvement Revolving Fund, and as well as we've got Aaron, if there's others.
Excellent. Questions, Mike?
Can you come back to me?
Yeah, I'll come back to you. Gardner? Can we come back to you?
why have we split out the earlier dredging, $20,000 from this revolving fund?
They're two different things. So the revolving fund, you're allowing them to spend from this revolving fund to a certain amount.
All right, thank you.
The other one was moving money.
Dee?
No questions.
Dan?
So 4 of the 6 all have the same explanation. Disperse funds for all expenses. I don't understand that word "all." I mean, of the 4, do we spend everything for the childcare, the waterways, the senior center, council on aging? Is that the only expenses they have?
No, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the language that you're referring to.
So number 1,
Yep.
council on aging. Number 3, waterways dredging. Number 4, child care program. Number 5, water use mitigation. It says all expenses. It doesn't say it in 2 and 6. So do we not spend all the money for 2 and 6? I mean, it's just a cut and paste. I just don't understand.
I mean, this is
why
actually, so this is a bylaw, so we adopted this as a bylaw several years ago. So whatever language we adopted in the bylaw, we just rerun it every year.
Well, again, my point is, it's 4 out of the 6.
Yeah.
Say all. The other 2 don't reference all. What's the difference?
I'm not sure I'd have a good answer for you right now. on
I didn't
that.
think so, because it's kind of, it's an unusual question,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I question, and well, Matt is here, so I'll put him on the spot.
Yeah, come and say hello.
I don't know if he'll know the language answer.
If I may, Madam Chairman, through you.
Yes.
This account receives and disperses funds for all expenses associated with the programming administrated through the Council on Aging. Included but not limited to part-time salaries, program expenses, but is that the only place you get your money from?
Through the chair. No, we get money from the town for operating budget, as well as
Friends of.
the Friends of Council, Danvers, the Friends of the Danvers Council on Aging,
And the state.
and the state funding that we have.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
You get various sources, which is a good thing, but
Mm-hmm.
this article says that it covers all your expenses.
I think it's just, through you, Madam Chair, I think it's a language thing that we've, like Rodney said, when we adopted the bylaw, it's been included in there, but there are expenses beyond this amount.
And I'm sure there are in some of the others as well.
Yeah.
So can we
We can edit it.
eliminate all?
We can eliminate it all or edit? No.
Don't eliminate it all.
All. Add
So
it.
if we want to take a look at the language, because it's probably is a good idea to freshen up, I would recommend next year, because we can't just change the English in the article because it's a bylaw. So I'd say maybe
I asked
revising
the
the
same
bylaw.
question last year, so.
Okay.
But if I might, I think it's a matter of reading and interpretation, but what I'm reading this is the bank account that will receive money and spend money for the expenses related to Danvers Council on Aging, not all expenses come out of this checking account.
Okay, so we can say related to,
Okay?
whatever word you want. I just,
It says associated, I guess related.
So if it's okay, through you, Madam Chair, we'll get an answer for Member Bennett, and then say, like, we'll get an answer for you, and if it has an impact, and we can't do it because it impacts the bylaw, then we'll make that recommendation, and we'll have it changed for next year.
So
Yeah.
this language is the bylaw.
Is the bylaw.
So to change the language, you would need to change the bylaw, which we can do, not at this stage
Interesting,
probably, but yeah.
So all that's really changing here is the
money.
amount.
That's all this article does now. That's why we ran the article back to back a couple of years ago, where we had to formalize making these actual bylaws, and then a subsequent article authorizing the amount. So the bylaws are set, and now every year we just reauthorize the amount. So to change the language, we'd have to do both again. We'd have to
but
rechange the
you've
language.
changed the amounts on some of these.
The amounts we can change every year. The language for the actual revolving fund, we can do as well, but that would be a separate article to change the bylaw, which we could absolutely take a look at.
Well, short of changing all the bylaws, but,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
I heard.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Okay, do we want to do a motion?
And will we forward this favorably?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you, team, for being here. Okay, we're almost done. Where are we?
Thank you.
Article 43, Debt Stabilization Fund. This is the first chance we get to talk to you about free cash, and I'm thrilled to ask you guys to put this forward. We recommend moving $2.7 million from free cash to the Debt Stabilization Fund.
No questions?
Got no questions, Scott? Mike?
And we're just paying down debt. Is that what we're doing here?
So through you, Madam Chairwoman, as part of the landfill project, we said that after expenses were paid, any additional revenue would go into debt stabilization to offset future debt and capital needs.
Okay.
So we're just staying true to that plan.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Steve?
No questions, thanks.
Dan?
All set.
All right, do I have a motion?
Motion we move it forward favorably?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent.
And Article 44, other post-employment benefit trust fund, the OPEB trust fund. This article requests moving $700,000 from free cash into the OPEB trust fund.
Questions, Gardner?
Nope.
Mike?
Yes, does the 700,000, is that go up every year? Or is that a set number?
No, we increase it by 50,000 every year. The change this year is that normally we would fund, or for the past couple of years, we try to fund some out of operating and some out of free cash. With the tough operating environment we had, we have to do it all out of free cash this year, but it still increases by 50,000, which is our strategy.
To get to 2035? Is that what we're trying to?
No, so pension is 2035, OPEB will be a little bit longer.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Dee? You-
No questions.
Dan?
All set.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Move it forward favorably?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So, I don't know, board members, it's a few minutes before 9 o'clock. Dan, do you want to move?
I'm dead.
You're dead? Okay. You dead? Everybody gone for the night? Or did you want to
Uh,
move a couple more?
My preference would be to move any that doesn't require, that
I was
the
gonna say,
town
we move
manager
a
doesn't
couple more,
require
Dan.
staff to
Let's
be
move
here.
a couple
No, no,
more.
no, staff isn't present. That's why we,
No, that's okay, but on the ones that, for the 9th, let's move the ones that the staff doesn't have to be present. We'll move a couple of them.
For example, the year end,
Right.
number 45.
Oh, you want to
fiscal
keep
year end.
going tonight?
I want to keep
Oh.
going a
Is
little
there
bit
any
more.
on
here
things that are Rodney. I think there are some Rodney shows. I don't know. I don't know. But yes, the only other thing I will say is, the other things on the agenda are the only things the town manager's report. So,
Right, so-
if you give us
I
a
wanna-
minute to see
yeah.
what's on the 9th, that we can check off pretty easily.
What, the unpaid bills? Right?
Yeah, I'd rather knock
Go
off
through.
3 or 4 in the next half
Yeah.
hour.
I would too.
You can
Wanna
do
just
consent
give-
calendar.
I'm
while
still
they-
trying to keep you under 10 o'clock. Actually, I want
Madam
an
Chair, can
hour
we
and
just
1
have,
minute.
Madam Chair, can we just have 3 minutes
Sure.
to figure out which ones we want to focus on?
I thank everybody for their time and effort tonight, too. It's been long. If we can bang out a few more.
I've got 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's,
And if we get to something that you have questions and staff's
Contentious.
not here, we can always come back.
yep. We're
We,
going to just announce that we're going to go to the April 9th, right? We're going to do a few more of these warrants.
Yep.
Okay.
So the first one I think we could probably do is special town meeting unpaid bills, but there is a change on that one, so that's why I want to make sure.
What number is that, Rodney?
Article 1 in the special town meeting.
Okay.
So that's unpaid bills. We have two, however, there is a correction in one. And that is, sorry, bear with me. So Article 1, unpaid bills, we have two unpaid bills. One is the $36 you see for management office supplies for WB Mason. The other one is actually $950 for the Public Works traffic control owed to the town of Saugus. Happy to take questions.
Questions, Gardner?
No questions.
Mike?
No questions.
T?
No questions.
Dan?
All set.
Okay. do I have a-
I'm sorry, I do have just a logistical question, not about the content. Are these costs that were unaccrued or unknown? Meaning, could we have, at the end of the fiscal year, put them in an accrual account?
So no,
Not- not
no, if
allowed
we
in
had
the-
done that, that wouldn't be here. So if we have things where it's in transit or we
Yeah.
receive the service but waiting on the invoice, we'll have a PO open that we could carry over. That's routine.
Okay.
These are ones where we had some type of cost that wasn't presented to us in a timely enough fashion
Very
or
good.
process.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
We have a motion, and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Thank you.
Okay.
Who made the motion?
I'll make the motion. I didn't know that anybody did, but I'll make a favorable
Gardner,
motion.
okay, Gardner favorable, and then
Mike, second.
Second.
Yeah, we should keep going.
So wait, can we, all in favor? Can
We did. Well, in favor?
Aye. All in favor, aye.
Okay, thank you.
Ready for special town meeting, Article number 3, the State Public Works Grant. This is the Chapter 90 grant. We're not really following. Oh, we are there. This is Chapter 90 funds, as we do every year. This is our apportionment. 1.248170 and 74 cents.
Questions, D?
No questions.
Dan?
All set, all set.
Mike?
Are we using all that for hot topping, et cetera?
Sorry.
Is that what we're doing with that?
This is for roads, paving.
Yeah, all right.
Paving.
Not water and sewer, though, right? No.
No,
This hot top and
What, sidewalk?
sidewalks, yeah.
Thank you.
Gardner?
No questions. We do have an audience question, though.
Audience? Okay,
Oh, Mr.
Bill?
Bradstreet.
Wait, let me get my timer.
All right.
1 minute, Bill. 1 minute.
Down to 1.5 now.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Bill
Instead of 3, we'll
Bradstreet,
cut it
County
in.
Meeting Member, Precinct 1. Can someone explain to me why the dollars, it's also down to the cents? He doesn't run a business by, it's $18.13. It's $18 or it's $19.
Because
How do we
it's a state
arrive-
formula.
State formula based on road mileage and road
State wants to
conditions.
give me 74 cents, Bill, I'll take it, so.
And I don't object to it, I just understand, I don't understand how don't they go out 3 places? Thanks.
I move this forward favorably.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay.
We are going to go to Article number 10, school transportation vehicles. Making me nervous, then. This is to see what some of the town will vote. For school vehicles, we're asking for $150,000 from free cash to purchase school vehicles and related equipment. We're expecting to purchase a 77-passenger school bus.
Dan, do you have questions?
None.
D?
No questions.
Mike?
What schools are we using that with?
Do not know the answer to that.
That would be a school transportation question.
Okay.
Superintendent will
If
be
there's
here
any of
the
these
other
you want to hold to answer on Thursday, we're happy to do it, but yeah.
No, it's not going to the high school, right? It's probably elementary or something. We don't know. 77, I don't know.
All of
Okay,
them.
never mind.
Should be rotating. Gardner?
No questions.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion move it forward favorably.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Excellent.
Next, we're going to what I understand is everybody's favorite article, Article 20, the drainage liability. This is related to Mass General Law, assuming liability provided by Mass General Law, Chapter 91, Section 29, for damages incurred by work to be performed by MassDOT. This is an annual thing.
Questions, D?
No question.
No questions.
Dan?
All set.
No questions.
No questions.
Okay.
I
Do I have motion?
Move it forward favorably.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're going to go to, and this is, I think we can handle this tonight, but if you guys want to push it off, that's fine. I was going to go to Article 33, the sale of junk and secondhand articles. This was requested by the board. We had recently, I think, granted a license to a vendor in this area, and at that, or maybe right after, the board had requested us considering changing the age from 18 to 21. As we reviewed that, obviously at the age of 18, you are an adult, so you'll see that the recommended language says if you're under 18, you need to have a parent or legal guardian with you, and their ID will also be included on the sale, which is how it currently is. And then we added, if you're between the age of 18 and 21, you have to have a person over 21 with you whose identification will also be recorded with the sale. And in that, thank you for the opportunity to update some of the housekeeping language in Section 2. I guess previously people kept like a paper, like a book copy of the record. That's not the case anymore. They all keep computer records, so we updated to what they currently use and allowed for them for changes if there's a different requirement by the Commonwealth or the town.
Questions, Gardner?
No questions.
Mike?
It does say in here that the person selling things has to produce an ID. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, what?
It does say in here that the person that's selling items to the secondhand store has to produce an ID, correct?
Correct. And if they're under 18, then their parent or legal guardian also has to produce one. And if they're between the ages of 18 and 21, they have to be accompanied by someone over the age of 21 who also has to produce an ID.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Uh,
I mean, so sorry.
Well,
Dave.
yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to the change, but is it possible for us to do this maybe on Thursday? I
Only up to you
did
guys.
not,
You
I
have more
wanted to do,
questions?
I wanted to do some more research on this, and I didn't have a chance to
That's
do it
fine.
yet.
Board members, you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, Dan? Okay, we'll move that till Thursday.
Can we consider number 32? I think that's pretty straightforward.
I think the police chief would like to be here for that.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to take away anybody's thunder, okay? Worries.
We can do Article number 45, which is if we end up,
I'm leaving.
Okay.
Good night.
good night. Madam Chair, if we want to continue with 45, or we can hold on.
We can do 45, sure.
Okay.
yeah.
Article 45 is the.
Dan, feel better?
Is the article we include in case there are any budget amendments at town meeting.
No questions.
No. No questions. T?
No questions.
I move we forward it favorably.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Thank you for that. And then we will go to town manager will report to the board on various items of interest.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you all for your work on that. That was a successful, my first annual town meeting warrant review, so thank you. A couple things, planning board appointments. I recently appointed, as town manager appointments, 2 members to the planning board, full member David Rodriguez and associate member John Sager. They both attended their first meeting last night, and for those of us who were either watching or there, I think it's clear that they're going to be an asset to that board. I want to thank them and everyone who volunteers to be a part of our boards, committees, and commissions. We can't do our work without them. That brings me to, I want to thank everybody in this board. You showed leadership last Thursday night. We had the open meeting law training. Most of this board was there, as well as, I think there was probably between 50 and 60 people in the room at least. It was a full house in this room, presented by our legal town council. I was very impressed with the discussion and the engagement by our volunteers and the select board, and we have some plans to kind of keep that engagement going. And I appreciate everyone's commitment to transparency and accountability and really trying to build public trust and get people engaged. So thank you for everyone who attended. An interesting one, we have a used, new to us, fire truck coming. We had a situation where the fire department's only reserve pumper, which was known as Engine 4, is out of service and deemed unsafe due to significant structural damage, and repair is not cost effective. The chief exhausted many resources looking to borrow a spare pumper from another department. This is typical, what we would normally do. But because we need the reserve pumper until we take delivery of our new apparatus in the summer of 2027, there was nobody who was really in a position to lend us a pumper truck for that amount of time. The fire chief, Chief Barry, worked with our procurement agent. They identified a used pumper through Allegiance Fire and Rescue, the same vendor we're purchasing the new one from. The truck is in good mechanical and physical condition with low mileage and engine hours. The cost is $14,000, which includes servicing and lettering for Danvers. Our mechanic went to evaluate the vehicle, and it meets our operational needs. We also compared it to several similar units and found that this one to be the strongest value. The funding is available within the existing FY26 capital outlay funds, and we will transfer usable equipment from Engine 4 and dispose of that vehicle through auction. The used pumper is expected to be delivered around mid-April. So I appreciate Chief Barry's economical approach to keeping our apparatus safe. I left on the copy machine for everybody. There will be a flyer in the upcoming utility bills about the launching of the customer app. So there's an online portal, as I think you all know, and now there'll be an app for your phone, which I think it makes the use even easier. So it'll be in your bills, and there's 5 of them up on my copy machine if you want them at another time. Curbside composting, we've talked about this a bunch of times. The program has launched. You should have seen some press on this. It's a new curbside food waste collection pilot program. We are partnering with Black Earth Compost, and our goal is to reduce trash, lower disposal costs, and support long-time sustainability goals. Participation in the program is purely voluntary. It will be available to up to 1,000 Danvers households at a first-come, first-served basis. Residents who enroll will receive a free 13-gallon compost cart and compost liners provided at no cost by the town, and then they set up a contract for disposal with Black Earth. Details are on the website if you're interested. Municipal Light Board update. The Municipal Light Board at their March 24th meeting, Danvers Electric will adjust the demand charge portion of medium and large commercial electric bills effective April 1, 2026. This press release also went out recently. Please note, again, the range change will only affect medium and large commercial customers and not residential customers. And this adjustment is based on findings from the most recent cost of service study, which determined that demand related to rates were not fully recovering the infrastructure costs required to serve the customers, and the demand rate has not been updated in more than 20 years. The average will be for about approximately 4 to 6%. Trying to find things. If you have more questions, you can contact the manager, and I should have brought with me, Clint has the graph. We are still well below certainly National Grid and any of our municipal utilities neighboring. And the last one is the Cultural Council survey is still open until April 10th, so the end of this week. So if people are want to give some input into the Cultural Council survey, it is on our website, and take the 2026 survey and give us your input.
Excellent. Thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody tonight. Madam Clerk, do you have any updates for elections or signs? And right, you sent out a email.
I do have, well, I can just tell you that we're waiting on our ballots to come in. I think some of them came in today. We have in-person early voting on Saturday, April 25th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then vote by mail is allowed for this election, and we have forms in the back of the room and in the clerk's office as well as on the website.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
To you, Madam Chair, can the town managers, they said the dedication is it Thursday?
Yes,
Of the mural?
yes, thank
Can
you, sorry.
Speak of that, please.
Thank you so much. The Rotary, thank you. The Rotary, I think we talked previously, the Rotary had dedicated funding for the restoration of one of the new murals that's located in the lobby. They're hosting a reception to view the murals, and we worked recently with them on there will be a sign, and we worked with the Danvers Historical Society and the archivist. So there's now a sign that will be at the bottom of the stairs giving some background and some history on the murals. There'll be a reception from 5 to 7 on the 9th upstairs, because we will be in this room, so they will be upstairs. Great viewing of the murals, light refreshments. Come check them out. It looks fantastic up there. Thank you for reminding me.
Excellent.
And thank you to the Rotary.
Oh, yeah, and just so everybody knows that the Thursday's meeting, April 9th, is going to be at 6 PM. But thank you. Thank you very much, Rodney, Jill, and everybody else. Good night,
That means
Dan.
you, Bill.
Good night.
Good night.
On behalf of Dan, I'll just ask people to
Oh,
remember
yeah.
to thank
Thank
the
you.
veterans.
Yep, always. Thank you.
Thank you.